Welcome to The Collective, where every conversation ignites a new perspective. Join us as we delve into the journeys of remarkable individuals, explore the art of growth, resilience, and the power of a shared mission as we strive to be better together. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Collective. We have another fantastic show for you, not planned out today whatsoever. I'm just excited to be back. I was out hunting, and while I am excited to talk about that and tell you all those stories, you should be doing a couple things. Like the show, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, do all the good stuff, get your emails when we go live, which is, of course, Fridays for The Collective and Wednesdays for The Gold Mine. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, anything at all, put them up on the into the comment section. We hit those throughout the show, kind of like this one. Dan C jumps in. Good morning, gentlemen. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? 'Tis the ass, and I am the foot. I love it.
School.
That is a little bit of Romeo and Juliet right off the bat.
Yeah, a little bit.
If you have not yet already, make sure you're signed up for the newsletter. It is our weekly newsletter. It goes out every Sunday, except for this last one, which now that I am home, I can put that out today.
I'm doing all the jobs.
Doing all the jobs. He's got no one. But make sure you're signed up for it because it is good information and it has some extra little brain candy for you to engage. Now, heads up. This is our last live before the break. So I'm excited for this one. There's going to be a bit of a break. We have some recorded shows, which are just excellent. There are lots of really great conversations that are coming up, and I'm excited to share them with you, but they will be recorded, so you won't be able to engage.
We're excited.
We are excited.
Let's start pluralizing.
We are excited for sure.
All the work, it's usually singular, me. But when there's good outcomes, is it we?
Yes, for sure.
Right.
The work is ours. The benefit is everyone's.
Okay.
That's what I like.
Where do I benefit? The work is ours.
That's it. The work is just ours. That's it. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. That's all we got is the work.
A better sentence.
But yeah, it was. It's been interesting being gone for a week and having the 2 recorded shows that we put up last week, and then disconnecting from the world for a little while.
Dude, you were so disconnected.
I really was. It was fantastic.
Most of the time, I didn't even know what you were doing. I
You
don't think
shouldn't.
you knew.
I knew what I was doing. I knew very well what I was doing. Absolutely.
Well, hang on a sec. Do you, though? Because you had a plan, but the plan didn't play out. So,
well, boy, did it not.
Did you know?
We managed. So
hang on a sec. Before Chance starts making some excuses, let me preamble in.
Sure.
Let me set the stage. I already have the inside scoop. So Chancey Boy and I, when he was on the side of the highway, what were you doing on the side of the highway? That's another story. Anyway, when you were waiting, when you were waiting several hours for AMA, and I felt a ripple in the force, I just thought, Chance, I got to connect with Chance. He's probably having a hard day. And so we hung out on a video chat while you're on the side of the highway waiting for our AMA. I guess for about half an hour, maybe 20 minutes.
Actually, 3 hours.
No, you did. But let's talk about how much sacrifice I made.
You hung out with me for probably a good 20 minutes. I'll say that.
It felt like 50, but it was probably only 20.
It was about 20 minutes. Yeah, it was well appreciated because I was not happy with what was happening.
You were not happy. And when I came into the video chat, feeling the ripple in the force, I thought, what's up with Chancey Boy? And you had a little bit of a boo-boo face on. But what did I say? Right from the get-go, I said, oh yeah, whatever, man. I don't care. I'm going to sort that out in the next 20 minutes. You're going to turn that frown upside down.
And I did. Yep. Turned into a really...
Well, you initially said, no, you won't be able to, I think. You actually counter-challenged me, and I was like, oh, now I'm going to double down on making that frown go upside down.
It worked. I was happy for it at the end of it. But
I was happy.
After the consistent, direct conversation that we were having, which was just all over the place. It
was all over, but it was fun.
But it was fun.
And you handled, by the way, I'm teasing you, of course, you handled that well, other than the boo-boo face.
The boo-boo face was a bit much. I was not happy.
You were not happy.
And I was so tired. I'm glad I saw my massage therapist this morning. She was able to work out some of the kinks in my back, and I feel much better now. But yeah, I was in I was a hurting unit. I was tired. I was sore. I was a little bummed that I didn't get anything on the hunt. And then
Well, it didn't all play out the way it was in
yeah,
your head supposed to
but
play out, but that's
it
the
was
way
still a
of life,
great trip.
right? Yeah.
Still a great trip. We
Hmm.
got to see all kinds of wildlife. We got to hang out in the woods. Doug and I got to spend a lot of time together because Travis, there was a flight thing that he
Hmm.
was in Sweden and then he flew back. It was a whole thing. We lost the tent on the first night. My
It's
uncle
a
and
funny
aunt
story.
saved us and let us sleep in their basement while we were out there hunting. Um, we had winds upwards of 80 kilometers an hour, just hammering us throughout the day. And for those that don't know, the southern Alberta wind sucks the life out of you. Like
Mm.
it's so cold and it's frigid. It is
Oh, by the way, for those who also don't know, like Costco family tents also aren't good for big
for heavy
hunting
winds. That is
expeditions.
yes,
They're just
100%.
not.
They're not they're not up to snuff on that one for sure. But we will be getting a new one very shortly.
Yeah, you will.
And I'm actually thinking looking at investing into one of the wall tents, the canvas ones with the
Okay, so
get a wood stove and do all that stuff.
that's good because I mentioned to Doreen that you know, you had friends that were flying in from Sweden to go on the big hunting expedition, but ended up staying in your uncle's basement instead. So as I was as I was relaying that story to Doreen, she said, "Well, what kind of a tent did he have?" And I said, "We probably shouldn't get into that." And so she said, "Well, you know, like there's proper hunting tents out there." I said, "Yeah, yeah, he's probably aware of that, dear. You know." And
Yep.
then she explained a local guy that, and this is something for you to consider. The only reason I'm bringing up this,
Mhm.
it's the only reason. There's a local guy. His name is Fred, and he looks after like a ton of kids for um, blackjack, cross country and skate, or classics
Oh,
and ski.
right.
So he's like a great local guy, great coach, and the kids love him. He's such a mega volunteer, but he helps create from sort of the ages of 5, 6, 7 years old all the way up to 14, 15, 16. He's creating kids that are like national and international champions. And so his name is Fred, and you'd never know that he's a mega coach, but he is, and he just freaking volunteers his time. That's it. That's all. But he's a big hunter as well,
Oh, nice.
and he's also a big birder. So he's a bird
Mm.
watcher. So I'm going to combine three things now. He hunts, he's a bird watcher, and he coaches kids in winter. And for those three things, he'll use a tent that, like for his poles, as Doreen was describing it to me this morning, he just used PVC poles
Oh yeah.
to take the weight.
Yeah.
And like, because it's a big tent, it's a big hunting canvas tent, but it's so big that the kids in winter will go in there and warm up, and you know he'll take the tent out to way out in the boonies where they're training and set up
Hmm.
the tent. So it's not just a hunting or a birding or a skiing tent. It's whatever you want to use it for tent.
Yeah.
So don't limit yourself to just the idea of I'm thinking of getting a hunting tent. It
Mm.
can be so much more if you just think outside of that box, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a great concept. I mean, we've been slowly upgrading our camping gear over the years because, like, when we started, it was a two-person tent, some sleeping
Mm,
bags, and then it was a inflatable mattress, and then it was cots, and now it's like mattresses on the cots, and
oh
then
yeah,
we have
yeah, yeah.
all the things. And so as we've been upgrading, I've been looking at canvas tents for a while, just in the
Mm,
fact that they are capable of pretty much anything. You can take them
mm.
out summertime, springtime, wintertime. Doesn't matter if you have the little camp stove and have some firewood and like it
Little camp
creates.
stove. That
Yeah,
was part of the story this morning. So Doreen then passed on the, does he have a camp stove?
I
And
do.
then she launched straight into another story, which was, so we have some local friends here, and one of the guys had a jammer, so he had a heart attack, and he was
A
out at
jammer.
his, you never heard that?
No, that's
Never heard the
amazing.
term? Okay.
Jammer. I
It's
love
old
it.
school. So he had a jammer and hammered in a little bit. And he was out at his cabin, and he has a little hunting stove, right? And so, of course, he survives. He's a good dude walking up and down the sidewalk like nothing ever happened. He gets prepped to go hunting this year. Can't find his hunting stove. Now, I'm not gonna like say who he accuses of like losing his hunting stove, but it wasn't himself, and his wife was
Mm.
there. So who could he have been
Who
accusing?
could he have been
And so
talking to?
and
Yeah.
so anyway, like he just thought for sure it wasn't him. Anyway, He bought a new one, humped it up. Guess what was sitting at the cabin waiting for him?
I'm sure there was a stove there.
Mid jammer. He just freaking hammered in. And he was in such a hurt locker, he forgot that he'd left it up there. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That I don't have one of the like the wood burning camp stoves. I just have a
that's
little
what
jet
his is.
boil
Yeah.
and a and like a Coleman little propane one.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, like, my wife and I sat down, we organized this whole trip. We had food for all three of us for the 6 days we were out there, breakfast, lunches, dinners, with snacks, with protein bars, with electrolytes. We had this whole thing planned out. We had made soup and then froze it into the shape of the pot itself so that we could just put the soup in and bam, and good to go. We layered it so that it would defrost, like the cooler would stay
Oh,
frozen,
yeah. Nice, nice,
but all the
nice.
stuff that we were eating as we took stuff
Mm-hmm.
off would
Yeah.
slowly defrost down the way. It worked out quite nicely. It was a great system, but I was in a basement of my aunt and uncle, which I'm super
Yeah.
grateful for because
Yeah.
like they made dinner for us and they took care of us throughout the whole thing. It was amazing to be out there, and they were actually at one point, my uncle was flying his drone around the property, like looking
Hilarious.
at muley deers and stuff, and we were
All
like, "This
right.
is freaking
Right.
awesome."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just an absolute blast of a trip. And there's some things that I'm looking at now, going, that's probably a better investment instead of
Hmm.
another
Whatever you
costly
had in
tent that
mind.
we could
Yeah. Yeah.
just get for summertime.
Yeah. Those are throwaways. I
Yeah.
mean, Uh, funnily enough, one of the best tents I owned for several decades, or I guess at least 3 decades, was I bought a tent down in the United States when I was in 2 Commando. We were just crossing across the border. Happened to go to, oh my goodness, I've forgotten the name of the tent brand. Anyway, it was super hardcore 4 season mountain extravaganza. Like you can you could live in it on Everest.
Yeah.
And so I bought this bad boy, and that went all over the world with me, doing all kinds of things. And we just got rid of it. One of the tent poles broke, and it was so old and it was so like Gucci that
Hmm.
just couldn't get the tent pole size for it. So we have easily almost double digit tents. We've got all kinds of tents.
I love it.
Backpacks, I couldn't even count.
Yeah.
We've got backpacks inside of backpacks, inside of backpacks. Outdoor gear, forget about it.
Yeah.
Start a retail store. Like, anyone out there on Instagram or social media sees me doing my daily, what they don't see is the ridiculous amount of hardcore outdoor gear I've got. Doreen's got even more. But when I go for a ride, I just throw on some raggedy old cotton and just go out there and do my thing because I like doing it like not high tech. I've got all
Yeah.
the high tech. If
Yep.
I want to get super hardcore, I'll go high tech. But if I want to get used to being hardcore, I go cotton. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And it's funny because I relayed this story a couple times to Doug and Travis as we were while we were out there. And I said, the reason I started hunting elk at the very beginning was because somebody said elk are really hard to hunt. They're one of the hardest things to hunt. And I was just like, game on. All right.
Agreed.
And the funny thing is, I didn't realize until afterwards that Travis relayed the story that I had told him of my first elk hunt. And he's like, so on your first day of your first elk hunt, you nailed a 4x4 elk with one round. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
normal,
probably
right?
that's probably the luckiest dude in the world to
As
have that
noted
happen.
this year.
And then the funny thing, and then I got skunked like the next 4 years in a row.
That's
And I
right.
was just like, okay, yep, that makes sense. And then I finally got a second one. That's this guy up here on the wall. And then I'm 2 years out now. I think I'm 2 for 9,
2 for 9.
which is
Yeah.
not bad
I
for
don't
an
know what
elk.
the stats are. I wouldn't
It's
know.
I'm pretty average. This is what
Okay.
you can expect for an elk hunt, unless you
Okay.
live in the area and you can track the herds, you know where they are, and like for someone to just go somewhere and look for elk, 2 for 9 is not a bad average, from my experience. The some guys I know who live in the area, they take an elk almost every year because
Well, they would know though.
they would know. That's
They
the
would
key,
know.
right? You have the local knowledge.
That's right.
But still, I have a blast out there. I sit in the sun on these hilltops and I watch the clouds just roll by.
Well,
I watch,
Alberta's great for that. Well, that part of Alberta is great for that. I
Mhm.
mean, It's literally a moving piece of art.
Yeah, it really is. And then, if the wind picks up, I drop off to the other side of the hill, or I go
Mm.
for a walk up the mountain, and it like helps warm me up. And it's just such an
What side of the
amazing.
tent do you lie on? Do you lay on the left side or the right side to get away from the wind at 2 o'clock in the morning? Which side?
So
Do you go on the other side of the hill or this side of the hill?
there
The other
was
side of
nowhere.
your truck or this side of the truck?
There was nowhere to go. So for those that don't know, the first night we got there, Doug and I hit our camping site. It was a little bit windy. It was like maybe 20, 30 km/h winds. Like they weren't bad. Set up the tent, pulled everything out. I made dinner really quickly. We had a really
Do you
cool
remember
little
what you had?
chat. Yeah, it was chunky soup,
Oh, nice.
steak and bell pepper.
That's what I was right away thinking old school steak and potato,
Yep,
like Campbell soup sort of
that's
style.
exactly
Yeah.
what we had. Yep.
Mm,
So that was the first night. Nice bowl of chunky soup to
nice.
settle our stomachs, and then we got into our tent and we laid out our gear for the next for the hunt tomorrow. So we had our
Do you guys
rifles
hold
out. We had
hands?
we had our we had all the binos and everything set up, good to go, and it's just laying in the middle of the tent between us. And I was on the left of the tent from the when you're getting in.
Right. Yes.
Um,
Wind side. You were on wind side.
no, no, we were both we were feet into the wind. So when we went to sleep, and I woke up that night getting smacked in the face, and it was like whack whack whack
And it
whack
wasn't
whack whack
me.
whack whack whack, and yeah, it wasn't Shaun. So
Yeah.
I opened my eyes, and it was the tent poles had snapped and were now folded on top of me in the bed,
So was
in
it
the
just the
cot.
tent beating you down, or were the tent poles
Tent
also
poles
involved? So,
attached to them.
so
Yeah,
they all jumped in on you. You
yeah,
guys
basically
got
the whole
jumped
thing.
by a
We got
tent.
jumped by a tent. The funny thing was, it was just my corner too. So, like Doug on the other side was fast asleep, and so I had to wake
Right.
him up, and then we had to repack while the wind was trying to flatten the tent.
So how did you explain that to him? Doug, we got to get out of here. I just got jumped by a tent.
Yeah, I
How are
said, hey,
you? Do you need a tourniquet?
I looked at him. I said, I think the tent is broken, and we need to we need to get up. And he goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, I think the tent is like hitting me in the face. And we tried to right it back up into the wind, and
Yeah.
that's when we realized that the poles actually were broken. There was nothing
Right.
holding them back.
PVC
Um,
pipes, baby.
PVC pipes, if I can get them.
There it
We'll see
is.
if Costco carries them. It'll be sad. But yeah, so that was the wake up in the morning. We finally got everything back into the truck that had been laid out all very
It's a
neatly.
pain.
It is, and then we went into town and slept at a hotel for like 4 hours, and up back in the morning trying to get. We went back out hunting that day.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
It's 0200 hours. You've just been jumped by a tent. You're
hmm
searching for your tourniquet. Did you turn a light on, or were you doing this all in the dark?
No, I turned the light on. I grabbed my headlamp, flipped it
That's what I
on.
imagined. So
Yeah.
now it's 0215. There's two headlamps flicking all over the place, trying to
hmm
get it all organized. How was that?
Super fun. And then I found my actual camp light. I
Okay,
popped that
right,
open, so we had
right.
light in the tent, and then
Yeah.
we just realized how bad it was. Once we had light, we could see like what was actually happening. And yeah, the winds were 70 to 80 km/h that night, and they just flattened that tent and bang. Like I had a really hard time opening the door of the truck just to get in on the wind side,
Right.
and then I had to like hold it, get my feet in, and like it snapped close. It was hammering in, and then we had to
What's
drive out, and then into
what's the
town.
biggest wind you've ever been in?
Been in was 120.
Where at?
The hardest I've seen was 150, and I know in that area it was recorded at 180.
Okay, so that's down in southern Alberta again.
Yeah, that's down right down Pitcher Creek. It is. I know it's one of the two windiest places in the world.
Hmm.
Is that little valley there, the Old Man River Valley, and there's a
Yeah.
place in Russia by the Ural Mountains which has a very similar structure of layout in terms of where the
Right,
mountains are and the hills are and what
right. The
formations
alignment.
layout, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just howls down there.
Hmm.
So, and then we fought with those winds basically all week. They were 40, 50, 60 kilometers. We were at -8 at one point, and like that kind of
That's
temperature and that wind, it
chilly in
just
the
sucks
wind.
the life out of you. You don't want to be there. But
That's
we
when you know
stuck out.
you don't have the right gear.
Well, and the funny thing is, we were sitting there. Once you're out of the wind a little bit, like you're
Yeah.
behind a tree or something like that, it's not bad. Or if you're moving, it's okay.
Of course. Yeah.
But the moment you get static and you sit there for
Not
2, 3
generating
hours,
heat. Yeah. Were
It
you
is tough.
sitting on the cold hard ground, or were you
No,
sitting
no, no,
on
no. I had
insulation?
we had some thermarest pads that we were
Uh-huh.
sitting on, and then funny thing, Travis came out and he has like the full unfoldable accordion thermarest that he brings with him.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I was like, I
okay.
have one of those in the truck. Why am I not bringing this with me?
Mm,
So I brought it. That one started coming out with me once he showed me. And man, that is way better than the thermarest
it
pad.
is. Yeah, it is.
So that's my new
Yeah.
setup. I was learning on the trip, learning right
Well,
there.
like, so everyone has to, me included. And so, when I was on my Army sniper course, there was a guy there on the course with us as a candidate. And his first name is Steve. Last name, I want to say, was Sandal.
Mm.
RCR, good guy, sergeant, and just like really a keener, and not a keener in that lame way, just a
Right.
keener that you want to be around.
Yep.
I liked him. I didn't know him very well, but I respected his, like, how he thought. I respected his commitment every day. But I liked the idea that he wasn't satisfied.
Hmm.
He wasn't satisfied with the kit that we had. He wasn't satisfied with the solutions we had. And it's not that he was whining about it. He just like wasn't happy, and he started doing something about it. He was the first guy that created his own kind of sniper pad, sniper seat. And
Mm.
it was just some dense foam, the old school, and I mean old school, going back maybe 40 years ago. It was about this thick. It was
Yep.
green. It was just like
Yep.
close cell foam.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
for sure. Like in wintertime, it provided no insulation, but what it did do was freeze solid so that you could lay on it and toboggan down a hill.
Yep.
Thank you, Canadian Armed Forces. And so, what he did was he took that closed cell foam and a couple of pieces, and then basically seamstressed it into a hard, like a high denier, like it would be a really robust sort of not canvas material, but a synthetic, almost nylon-y
Okay.
canvas material.
Yep.
And so he just handed me one of these. It was just a little pad, and he said, "Shaun, you can roll that up. You can slide it into XYZ, and then when you get into your hide, you can just roll it out, sit on that, and it's insulation." I was like, "Steve, you're the man." I
Hmm.
hung on to that for years. That I took that into the teams with me as a piece of little quote unquote Gucci kit.
Hmm.
And so, like all of these little things that, you have to learn on day one, they always evolve. Like
Yep.
that thing that he gave me evolved in the teams, and then it evolved when I left the teams, and so on and so forth. And that's just the way it is.
I enjoy the learning process too, especially when it comes to being out there because you learn real fast. Like if you're
Mm,
not wearing the right kit,
not
you're going to
necessarily.
be cold real quick. And so
Not
like
everyone learns fast.
that's true.
You learn fast, maybe.
Yeah. I'll give
The
you that.
guys you were with maybe learn fast, but it's
Yep.
been my observation that not everyone learns fast.
That's true. When when Travis came out, he's got all the Kui kit.
Dude, I
Like
saw the photo. I looked at that photo that you put up of the three of you there, and I scanned Trav for about 1.4 seconds, and I thought, squared away. I
mhm.
didn't even look any further. He's got the gooch.
He has all the Gucci kit. It
Hmm.
was pretty funny. We were sitting in the wind at one day when we were static for a little bit in the morning, and he came. We had three different positions, and I had the stove, so people Doug would come to me, and
Mm,
we'd make breakfast, and then
mm,
he'd go back to his position, and then back and forth. And Travis came by, and he was wearing I think 7 layers or something like that.
it looked like
Of
he was
kit.
about to go snowmobiling.
Cooey, 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 cooey. And he was wearing an extra couple on top. And I'm just like, man, how do you fit all that in your bag? And he's like, no, they like everything gets really small. It's super
Right,
light. Everything has a
right.
very specific uh,
Purpose,
role and
use
purpose in
case,
that.
yeah.
And all the layers work up to he can just basically sit there and in the
Hmm.
wind. He's like, good
Yeah,
to go.
I looked at the photo and I actually got a bit warmer just looking at it.
Just looking at him, right? Like
Yeah,
it was
it
crazy.
emanates a thermal signature.
And I was rolling in Sitka gear, and then Doug had some Kui as well. But we all learned stuff about our own kit. Like
Oh yeah, of course.
my Sitka gear is really great as a wind blocker, but when I start to climb, it doesn't release any of the heat. So I
Hmm.
get overheated quickly, and I have to stop or dress down and then dress back up and then dress down, and it gets really kind
Do
of
you know what
annoying.
teaches you how to do that really well? Ultra endurance racing.
I have no doubt being
Like,
able to
and
strip
here's the
up, strip
problem.
down.
Here's the actual problem. I understand wind chill quite well, and as I explained this to my wife just a couple of days ago, obviously she's doing ultra endurance running. She's going to be doing an ultra endurance race when we're over in Vietnam. It'll
Hmm.
take her 8, 9, 10 hours, whatever the case is. She covers 3,000 meters of vertical gain during the race, and like she'll be hammering, but she won't be hammering as fast as I hammer on a bike. Because when I start descending, I'll be doing 30, 40 kilometers per hour. And if it's 0 degrees Celsius out at 130 hours, guess what? You're freaking freezing.
Hmm.
Because what you can't do is throw on your Sitka or Kui snowmobile suit and hammer out another lap. What you got to do is you got to suffer like a dog as you're climbing, kind of sweating, and then the moment you get to the top, you realize, oh my goodness, this is going to hurt so bad. Freeze time, and you're doing that like you just get no breaks, and
Lap after
so
lap after
your
lap.
your layers are this: zipper down, zipper up. Oh my goodness, I'm freezing.
I love it. This is my. I used to do that when I would climb these hills. So Doug had a tracker on his like step count and all that stuff on his phone,
Mm.
and we averaged out at 18, 19,000 steps a day,
Do
and
you know what
then
your vert gain was? Any idea?
it was. He thinks it was a little off, but we were around 100 floors, like 1,000 feet,
Okay.
100 floors a day,
Okay. Okay.
and like up and down and up and down and up and down. And initially, the first climb is about a kilometer, and it's about 30 degrees.
Mm.
And so like it's a good hump. Like if you're going straight
Can
up,
you see where you're going? Can you see the end state?
no, there's a lot of false
Okay.
summits. So like
Oh boy.
you're like, yeah, oh, yeah,
Sounds like
oh.
selection.
Yeah, it's a super great location though, because there's lots of elk in the area. It's
Mm.
just trying to find the right valley on the right day, because there's just so many of them.
Mm.
Um, but that climb initially, no matter where you go, you try to gain altitude so that you can look down into the valleys. And that's the first thing. And it's cold, it's dark,
Mhm.
you can't see
Mhm.
anything. You got your headlamp on, and you're just looking, trying not to hit badger holes and gopher holes and little
Yeah.
trees and
Well, how
scrub and
much were
all
you
that
guys
stuff.
carrying?
My pack was about 30 pounds, maybe.
Okay,
It's
not
not too
bad.
bad,
Yeah.
but with the rifle as well. The rifle's 6, 7 pounds, so
Yeah.
close to 40. But
Dude, don't even bring that up.
and yeah, I'm
And then
not
your
even.
watch, I mean, your watch weighs an
Oh, it's like
ounce.
3 ounces.
Like
Like,
I wore
oh
my
man.
heavy gloves. I
But
wore the heavy duty shoelaces.
overall, I think we were about 40. And
Okay.
I was carrying a little bit extra more than the other guys, just because I had the stove and the
Dude, you're
pans and those
big.
kind
You
of
should
stuff,
be
which is,
carrying.
and that's
Plus, you're
fine.
the
I got no issues
host.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it at any means.
Yeah, you just did.
Uh, but that initial climb in the morning,
Yeah.
like I do not want to overheat. I've done it too many times where I just like raced up there and then I was sweating and then the wind hit me and I was
Mm.
freezing and I was like, let's calm this down a little bit and just. So I use the
So,
hill stops and I just
like,
meander up.
obviously, with the guys that you're out with, they are experienced. They understand
Hmm.
layering systems and they understand pace.
Yeah.
And so they also understand that sweat is death.
Hmm.
And they understand all the, whatever, all the rules of thumb. But it can definitely screw up. If every single dude there, all three of you knew exactly how it's supposed to play out, one guy looks over his shoulder the wrong way and starts doing a little half a step too fast. That's how it begins.
Yep.
And so, like, with new units, I'll call you, a three-man patrol that's never worked together, even if they're all super duper squared away, humans are interesting.
Yep. It was at one point Travis has like trekking poles and he's also got
Mm,
a bum knee. So
mm,
him walking on the angle was not working for him. So he just like
mm,
straight up the hill.
right.
And I was like, cool, man. We know where you're going. I'll meet you over there.
Ah, you know
Have a
where
blast.
you're going, but did you guys do the if this then that's?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we did that ahead of time and it was like, we're going
We
to meet
just
up at,
talked about that the other day.
there's a
The
particular
create an
tree.
RV, create
This is where
this,
we're
that.
setting up. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay, good.
We had talked about it beforehand. We knew where everyone was going. We knew where to link up afterwards, and if anything happened, where each other would be. And then we just hung out, and then we'd link up and
Nice.
make a decision, and then we'd go off somewhere else. And
Oh, by the way, this for you, and for the guys you're with, and mostly for the listeners, actually,
Mm.
I'm not asking these questions because I think that you guys are screwing up. I expect you guys to do it right.
Yep.
But I'm asking the questions so that you can verbalize it out loud so that others can pick up the lessons or the right way to do it, or, the wisdom from Trav or whatever. So that's what we're doing right. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to draw it out for the listening audience.
And that's great because I'll burn over a lot of those details pretty easily if you let me start jamming
Well, you'll
about.
tell a story, but
Tell a
I'm trying
story,
to pull
exactly. Yeah.
out the wisdom. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely. On that note, I want to hit these before we get too far
Right on.
away. Satch in Motion jumped in. Good
Yeah.
morning, boys. Good to see you, Satch. Catherine Hirschfeld, good morning. Good to see you. Dan C, classic. Always good to see. He says, I love camping when the kids were young. Now Christmas in Rotan in a beach house wins. Yeah, man.
Not bad.
Good one.
Yeah.
And then on the Instagram side, we got a bunch. We got Duck Lover X. He says, new name, same guy. Happy Halloween, fellas. Good to see you. He says, lived in Lethbridge. I get that wind. Yeah, Lethbridge is it zips through there. And Derek Mack, what's happening? He's good to go. Awesome. But yeah, the stuff that I learned from those two was really quite interesting. I found watching them and how they hunted was kind of fascinating because Travis is very much a find a spot, sit there until animals roll through. So he's used to just getting comfortable.
Yeah.
And we're going to hang.
Yeah,
Right. I'm I'm a spot and stock guy. I like to wander the hills and use my glasses and just check that hill. Let's look at that valley. Let's check over there. I'm going to go up here, do that stuff. And Doug comes from like a deer hunting background. So you're not walking a ton, but you are walking some, and it's usually, pretty level grounded. He did awesome though. Like what stuck with me is he actually outpaced me on the last hill because my back was just killing me. And he was like,
dude, did you let us down?
No,
I
got up there.
Pluralizing now. Did you
I got
let
up
us
there.
down?
I didn't let us down.
Slow though. Were you second place?
I was.
Dude, you should have been up at the top like frickin'.
I should have been, but I was not. It comes from getting hit in the face by a tent. Like
that's right.
I wasn't.
You took one for the team.
I did. I really did.
Did you think about how many tourniquets you should carry in those sort of tent situations?
It's funny. I have a trauma kit in my truck.
I'm traumatized by this story.
So some of the things we saw out there while we were out there, this is, as you said, a new unit coming together, 3-man recce.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it was Doug and I at first, just him and I for a couple of days. And we just kind of fell into pattern with each other. I took lead.
It's easier with two.
Yeah, it is. You can check that vibe a little bit. You don't have the intermingling of stuff as well. But we were wandering around on the first day, and we took a seat for a second to just rest, and we saw a black bear, a really nice sow with 2 cubs that were probably a year or 2 old. They were big. They were almost her size, and I was like surprised that they were still with her. But beautiful black sheen coat and like really healthy. We were very happy. And then I went to get my phone and I scared her away, and she ran off into the woods, and that was the last we saw her. We saw a ton of mule deer, lots of good bucks, but it's a draw animal down there, so we can't go after those guys. We saw some whitetails, which I should have taken a shot at and then did not, but I'll explain that in a second.
It's a good story. It's not a lesson, but it is a good story, and it should have people thinking about what they would have done in that moment.
I think it is a good lesson, and
I don't think there's a right or wrong.
Let me relay it then, and we can discuss it. We were following a path, a track of elk. I had found some fresh scat, some pellets, and I was following some tracks that were within the last day. And as we came around a corner, we saw a group of 5 whitetails, which I have tags for. And I thought about it for a second, and Doug asked, "Hey man, do you want to take the shot on that guy?" And interestingly enough, we were about 150 meters away. They couldn't care we were there. We sat and discussed it with them in sight. They were staring at us the whole time.
Were they chowing down, or were they?
They were just
chowing and looking up and scanning, or
grazing.
They knew you were there, or no?
I don't think they knew we were there because we were downwind from them. And but they were totally relaxed, totally chill, and no real issues. But when Doug asked me about taking the shot, I thought about it, and I was like, if I hit this guy, I'm going to have to clean him. I'm going to have to quarter him. I'm going to have to bring him down to the truck, and then we're going to have to drive into town and take it to the butcher and make sure it's sorted. and that's going to take the day. Like I'll lose a hunting day just doing that. So I figured, well, if they're there now, they may be back later. I'll just come back and check in on them every once in a while and see if they're around and take a shot later. We never saw them again. So unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity. But Doug brought up the fact later that said we could have shot it, cleaned it, hung it, like tagged it and hung it up in the tree and just left it there and then come back later that day to finish off everything else. And then we could have quartered it and taken it to the butcher in the evening. And I had not even thought about it. And you brought up a great point that we should have talked about it ahead of time. Hey, if this, then that. And we just
scenarios.
Just a miscommunication there, a little bit of a misthought. But we carried on. We eventually, on that little walk, we found an elk carcass that had been taken earlier, probably a couple days earlier during opening day. And a very neat thing that I'd never seen was a gutless butcher. Or a gutless quarter. So they took the quarters, they took the head, they took the back straps, they opened up the sides and took the strip loins without gutting the animal.
Yeah.
Which was fascinating to me. I've only ever heard of it. I've never actually seen anybody do it. So we inspected that for a little bit and then we carried on with the rest of the day.
I didn't ask you last night because it didn't enter into my mind. I'd assumed, and that was I shouldn't have done that. I'd assumed that you guys had comms.
No.
Right. Because in that moment, I mean, if you guys were separated by 100, 150 meters, whatever the case is, you've got angles, whatever, who cares? When you're having these ideas of, well, if I take the shot, it'll spoil the hunt for us. And so as you're running that idea, you could have just been on the comms and said, hey, Doug, what do you think about this? Like,
well, he was beside me. Like we could have just...
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We were walking together looking for this tracking.
Okay, so when that was occurring and you were thinking, do I take the shot? Don't I take the shot? If you were within arm's reach, did you not have a little verbal?
I did. I don't think he wanted to challenge me in that moment.
Okay.
So I just said, "Oh, we'll come back for him if they're there. We'll come back later." And he was like, "Okay," and we carried on.
He didn't hit you with a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Later, he did.
Okay.
But not in that moment. It was just, it was kind of a, like you said, a split
that
second
would have been
decision.
the first thing out of my mouth.
Yeah. And I should have taken it, but
I did not. But you didn't, and that's how it played out. So now my interesting question, or I find it interesting anyway, to me, my question is this, that if you would have, now with hindsight, you can see that the shot wasn't taken, but now you've had lots of time to think of it, and I'm not going to call it regret, but it stings a little bit. It stings enough to think like, oh, I'll do it differently next time.
Correct.
But, rewind the clock and that's just you and Doug laying there next to each other. And you say, let's just leave them for later. And he looks and he says, dude, bird in the hand, two in the bush. Let's freaking go send it. You crack one downrange, you get your deer, presto changeo. There's no lesson. The lesson is small. And it's whether you take the small lesson of how he used the tone in his voice to have the same impact as you not taking the shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We were discussing it afterwards, and he did say, you never really regret shots you didn't take. Like there's shots that I regret taking. Like really, like that was not a smart call on my part. But not taking a shot, in my mind, is still always better than rushing a shot or trying to take
with granularity.
You know what I mean, though? Like
I do. So with granularity or with nuance, I'll agree with you if you're saying that you'll never regret not taking a shot if the logic behind it dictates that you shouldn't take a shot.
Sure.
But it's a different story for me if I say I just didn't think it through very well. In fact, I was totally gapping. In fact, I was barely there and I didn't take the shot. Like, that's an entirely different thing. So it really depends on the circumstances, I feel. I would never say that universally not taking a shot, I'm okay with it. Because I just don't, that doesn't fit with my beliefs, as it were.
Yeah. I look at it from the angle of the welfare of the animals. So
listen, I appreciate the spirit of the message. I do. I'm
Yeah.
just saying with granularity,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
does
You're
not
right.
universally
It's
apply.
not a universal thing,
Yeah.
100%. I err on the side of caution when it comes to hunting,
That's cool, man. I dig
and
that. I
that's where
support that.
I
Yeah.
like to hang out. So even with when I range things, we Travis and I had this discussion because he brought a rifle out there that was like long range because I
Mm.
told him that the sight lines were really long,
Mm.
and he thought that like, oh, that means we're going to take long range shots. So he
Yeah,
was
right,
thinking like
right.
6, 7, 800 meters,
Right,
that
right,
kind of
right.
out there. And I was like, no, I don't take a shot outside of 300. And he
Mm.
goes, well, why? And I'm like, I know that within 300 meters, I can put it right where I want it,
Hmm.
and I'm confident in that.
Yeah.
400, I'm pretty confident in
Well,
that.
that's now we're talking about based on your skill set, not on
Based on
again
exactly,
universal laws. That's
exactly.
cool.
So like that comfort and that discussion was quite interesting too because we all got into our own little, oh well, at this range in this environment at that with this
That's good.
caliber,
Yeah,
right?
that's what should be happening. That
And
conversation is key.
it became a really neat conversation. One of the
Hmm.
things I recognized and told Doug about when we were walking around was when I'm in close country, I don't shoulder my rifle.
Mm.
Like I don't put it on the sling. I carry it in a hand.
Yeah.
And he asked me why I did that, and I was like, I hit branches because I'm a tall guy, right? So my barrel's sitting.
That just absolutely never even entered my mind because that sort of stuff is like that just never happens.
Yeah.
Um, and irrespective of my height or not, like I'm good in the bush.
Oh,
It's
for sure.
just not going to
Yeah.
happen. Why I would never sling in close quarters is bear.
Yeah.
Like I'm carrying it like I'm on a patrol
Yeah.
for sure, 100%. Close quarters, I want to be able to snap off a shot in half a second right between the eyes if I got it.
Yeah.
And so I treat it like I'm on a recon patrol.
I carry it single handed, like I cup it
Oh, yeah.
just on the magazine
Yeah,
well,
fair
and so
enough.
like I can throw it up pretty fast without being on the trigger guard or anything like
I,
that. So,
I'm, I mean, when I
but
say I'm
I'm tracking.
patrolling,
No, I'm tracking what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
dependent on the conditions of our
Absolutely.
terrain at the time.
But I think you and I are saying the same thing.
We
So
are.
that you're ready. It's
That's right.
there and it's available, and that's where I roll with it as well.
It'd be the same as if I was in close quarters in Africa. If,
Yeah, for
like a
sure.
lion
Yep.
or
Yep.
whatever,
There's predators out
any
there. Yeah.
big animal, not even, it doesn't even have to be a predator.
Well, that's true. Yeah. It
So,
could be
like you
rhino
take
or bull. Yeah.
so bringing it back to Canada as an example, I'm not going to say that there's moose right there next to the elk,
Mhm.
but if there was moose in that area,
There are.
and right, and if you're edging along the edge of a swamp, you're on the circumference of a swamp, and it's that time of the morning. There's a bit of fog. Even if the trees aren't right on top of me, I'm walking like I'm in a patrol because the moose, they ain't all violent and aggressive, but if they panic and start running the wrong way, dude, I just don't need it.
Yeah.
And so
And well, I mean, moose and elk, if they feel cornered, they will
that's right.
bite you 100%.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you're in the rut as well, then you're going to get it if you're too close. Like they'll come
Maybe
after you in a
twice.
heartbeat. So it's another aspect. I mean, the area I'm in, there's black bears, there's grizzly bears, there's cougars, there's wolves, there's coyotes, there's all kinds of things out there,
Yeah.
as well as the deer, as well as the elk, as well. Like it is a wild area.
Mhm.
We have bear spray on us just in case.
Nice.
I carry a black bear tag just in case. I don't normally go out to hunt the black bear, but if whatever happens and I have to put one down,
Yeah, you got a
then
tag.
I have a tag for it.
No
Bang.
big deal.
Yeah. Instead of having to discuss it with the CEO and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough,
Conservation officer,
yes, you're right.
not commanding officer.
We actually had one come out to the campsite and chat with us
Oh,
and
yeah.
check our licenses and all that stuff, and it
nice.
was super cool. We had a chat,
That's cool.
and I was talking to my uncle afterwards, and they all said the same thing. Good. Glad there are people out there tracking and
Yeah,
rolling
agreed.
around and making sure everything's good to go.
Yeah.
Because in most hunters that I know, I can't say this for all hunters, but most hunters I know are all conservationists. We want the land to stay the way it is, so the animals are out there, their populations can grow. That way we can keep hunting. Like it's a circle, right? I take some animals out of the breeding pool. We let the diversity grow back up. We get to re-engage. We can share it with our children. We can share it with our families. We get to develop that. And interestingly enough, the guy that picked me up with the tow truck that picked up my
Oh
truck and
yeah,
drove me
right.
home. Him and I had a good conversation. He comes from Vancouver. He's never hunted before, and I he asked a bunch of questions, and I was able to answer a bunch for him. And we talked about like the ballistics of a shot and what it would take to take down a deer versus a larger ruminant like an elk or a moose or something like that. We talked firearm safety and morality and ethics around it and all these other things. And it
Was
was
he well balanced?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He asked a lot of questions, and I came
probably one of the
across.
smartest guys in the region.
Well, I came across as
Think
a
about it.
yeah.
You know, like how many people does he drive in his tow truck?
Oh yeah,
Right? And
yeah.
so like it's like a coffee shop owner. You see all of humanity, but you only see small glimpses of it in a
Hmm.
very brief period of time. But that tow truck driver, he's seen all of humanity, but he's getting time in his office, in his podcast studio, just you and him,
Yep.
where he's getting to not just interview but learn a lot more about a pretty broad swath of people.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, he started asking me questions of you saying that, he's a new father and
Curious guy.
sometimes he gets upset with his
Nice.
kids and he's trying to manage this stuff. And it was kind of
Fantastic.
interesting because I was sitting there going, like, we talk about this
Yes.
all the time on the collective. Like, um, oh, I think you're frozen there for a second. Okay, we're back. But we had a really great conversation. He asked a lot of really good questions, and he came away from it just like he shook my hand and wanted to find the podcast, and
Nice.
like he was super excited about just being able to bounce those ideas off of somebody. I think that's
Dude, get him on the
the,
podcast.
maybe I will.
Maybe you
Maybe I
should.
will. But great conversation. He learned a lot, and one of the things that I took out of that conversation has how often how often do people have these kinds of conversations? How often does someone who's never hunted before get to sit next to somebody who's a hunter
That's what
and
I said.
discuss these things for an hour, right? Like
Yeah.
exactly right. So and I was conscious of that and tried to come across as even keel,
Yeah, nice.
right? And just here's my information, this is my experience, this is what I
Well done.
see. And he was picking up what I put down, I think,
Mm,
which is good.
it is good.
Um, which it kind of reminded me of the once Doug and Travis and I started working together when we were walking around, we again all kind of fell into that easy going, hey, what do you want to
Rhythm.
do? What do you want to
Yeah,
do? What
yeah,
do you
yeah.
want to do? Let's do this. Okay, cool. Sounds great. And we were fluid without being unintentional.
Nice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, how about this? It does make sense, but now it's not that I'm challenging you. I just, playing with the numbers here. And so it's you and Doug first, just the two of you. You're getting squared away, getting in the rhythm, feeling the vibe.
Mhm.
Now it feels natural. Third person comes in. There's already an established baseline to some
Mhm.
degree. That third person is folding into the already existing now two person. And so the tone was set between you and Doug. The culture was set between you and Doug. Trav folds into that and he picks up what was being put down before he even arrived. And so that's how it goes. But now, scrap all of that. All three of you meet in a Walmart parking lot on the first minute. Nothing has occurred yet. And you're all just figuring it out. Now it's three people. And so that is a different dynamic, as you know.
Mhm.
But the culture is being set between three, not two. It's more complicated, not less complicated, if you really understand how these things work. And so, my question to you is this: I know that you could have made it work either way. The fellas could have made it work either way. That isn't my point. My question is, given the choice, which do you think is easier? Is it the two-person or the three-person meetup initially?
The two person for sure across the board.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, that said, and that's what I agree with as well, that's how I feel it works. That said, timeline. So 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours until the third person folds in. There is what I would refer to as a law of diminishing return,
Mhm.
where the two people are hanging out together. You don't need 12 years to adopt the culture between the two, but you need more than 12 seconds.
For
And
sure.
so, what do you feel? and I know it's a different situation for each group,
I'm tracking.
right? But in this moment, for these guys, what do you feel was the law of diminishing returns?
What worked well was 48 hours, 2 days,
Okay.
because Doug and I got to get through a lot of the conversations, asking questions. Oh, well,
Right.
what was, he was asking questions about my family. I was asking questions about his family. We were getting to know each other. We got out in the field. We were able to, feel the rhythm and how we were going to work
Create the
together,
bond.
create that bond. And after 2 days, we both were kind of like, okay, we're happy with the way things are. We're able to sit kind of in silence. We don't
Hmm.
have to discuss anything, or we don't have burning questions in
Yeah,
our head.
settled.
Settled, exactly. And then Travis came in after on that third day,
Mm-hmm.
and it was simple because then Doug and Travis started talking together,
Right.
and I was able to, you know, do the logistics of the
Admin
hunt.
it. Yeah.
Admin, exactly. Take the drives and stuff like that were them
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it switched after a little while. And then it was Travis and I just talking. And then it was the three of us talking. And then
Right.
so that initial fold in, I think if it's done early on where you're still trying to ask questions, then it becomes difficult to manage
That's right. That's been
who's
my
talking to who.
observation as well.
But yeah, so 48 hours I found was a sweet spot. Anything
Hmm.
beyond that would, it starts to get into um like third wheel,
It does.
right? And then
Yeah.
to your point of diminishing returns is that it's not quite the same dynamic anymore.
Correct. And beyond the I won't, it's not discomfort, but beyond the initial friction,
Hmm.
um, you know, there's most of the learning is done in the friction.
Hmm.
Beyond the friction, it's mostly bonding. And so the friction is required to bond, but then as you've moved kind of through the friction, the bond is in place and now you get to explore the relationship.
Hmm.
I think most people invert that. I think they feel that the first 48 hours is the exploration. That's what they'll term it in their mind. I'm exploring this person. I'm trying to get to know them better, et cetera, et cetera. And I am not. I'm getting to know them, but I don't tell myself that.
Hmm.
All I do for that first 48 hours is just feel.
Mm.
And my feel will get me to where I need to be. I don't need to do a ton of probing questions, though I will. And so my question to you is this: if you guys never got to talk at all, like if you had to go all stealth mode, like
Hmm.
not even like whisper mode, just zero talk, blackout, how long do you think it would take?
I
No
think
words.
I think it'd be pretty quick. I
Hmm.
think it'd be faster with no words than
I
it would
think so as
be
well.
with words.
But there is a rider to that. There is an attachment to that, I
Yeah,
feel. And so I think that the expeditious bonding through silence is best appreciated when there is a high priority focus, like a
for
mission
sure.
set.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
you can't all get together in the Walmart parking lot, hold up little pieces of paper, say no one talk for the next 48 hours, and then just drive to the hunt and just dabble around and
Hmm.
goof off and whatever. It's got to be like super kind of hardcore
Hmm.
focus for the silence aspect to work, you know?
I also think there needs to be a prescribed, not just the mission, but there's got to be a like a mission brief,
I
right?
think
Like you
to
got
set
to
the
have
stage.
to set the stage. Hey,
Hmm.
everybody, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to go in. It's going to be absolutely silent. Da 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 da. Here's all your gear. Here's all your stuff. Go.
Hmm.
And then those in that moment where you can look at each other and nod and be like, let's do it.
That's right.
And off you go.
Yeah.
That initial bonding, I think what it is, this is my own feelings on this, but it's the simplicity within the mission. It puts you aside.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And so that by making it even simpler than ourselves and what we want, what we feel, and all these things, it just becomes the moment. Right
Hmm.
now, Doug's on point. Cool. I'm going to watch this way without having to discuss it or talk about it, and the added experience of a military background.
Hmm.
We know what to expect from the other person. I know with his training that I can leave him up there, good to go,
Hmm.
until he proves otherwise.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if he proves otherwise, then it changes, right? And then
Hmm.
things go from there. Same deal, other way around. When I was leading, Doug could have very easily been like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? Like, you're not
Hmm.
doing this right. We need to change this." Or, which is what happened, he just fell in behind me and we patrolled through the woods.
Hmm.
It was as a two-man team. I was looking up here, I was looking down here, he was looking up there. Like it was fluid without
Hmm.
having to be explained.
Hmm.
So that helped.
Hmm. I mean, that's what you want. That's what
Yeah.
I want
Oh,
in
absolutely.
life, you know.
Yeah. When you can just nod at somebody and you know that that nod back is exactly what
Yeah,
you
it's
think
yeah.
it's communicating. Like,
Between two nods, there's a four and a half encyclopedia books that have just been passed back and forth. So
yeah, in
yeah,
the
I do
simplicity of
love working in a small unit where everything is mind reading and everything is based on the frequency of the moment. You know.
I agree. But so let me ask you this because we've been talking about me for an hour, but I want to talk about you because
No,
you're
it was
going
good though. No, I mean, like I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it wasn't just talking about you; it was talking about all kinds of things, the boys, and
all the lessons from the
basically we're
experience.
talking for the
Absolutely.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but I do want to find out. I have questions for you about your trip because you
Hmm.
you and I were talking earlier. The logistics when I was planning the trip and I'm trying to get the food sorted and doing all this thing, and you're like, yeah, because I'm not trying to figure out a 2 month trip across foreign nations. That's gonna be like, and
Yeah.
I want to know about it. Like logistically speaking, a lot of people think, oh, well, just I'll book a flight, I'll book a hotel, wee, and like
Yeah.
let her rip. But you're not that type of person. First off, I know that, and neither is Doreen. So
No.
how do you guys manage your shared desires in those in foreign environments
Hmm.
at the same time? Because
That's a great
she wants to go
question.
for a run, you want to
Hmm.
go eat street food, Alan Shabarro's going to meet you, like stuff's
Hmm.
happening. How do you guys link those up?
Yeah, that's a great question. Someone asked me that yesterday. They came over to a couple of people came over, a couple of doctors came over to our house just to hang out with Doreen. They're friends of hers. The three ladies were just doing their thing, and I was in my office doing, well, your job. And so as I passed back and forth into the living room, the question came up about what do I do when we're overseas on these vacations, because they know Doreen is the runner.
Hmm.
But the one lady who's met me for the first time yesterday, she didn't really know too much about me. And so I said, well, we're going to be gone for 2 months, and I'll find something to do to stay in shape, because that was her initial specific question. And she didn't let up. I gave her kind of a non-answer, and because I just didn't really want to dig into it. I'd only just met her. I didn't know where, is she filling in the gap? Is she filling in the blank space, or is she actually curious?
Yeah.
And so it's not that I blew her off. I just kind of gave her the old, I find something to do, or this blah 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 blah. So the third time she hit me, like we hadn't even got past our door. We're all still standing kind of awkwardly at the door, I felt. And so she hit me with this question. I've known her for less than 2 minutes now. And I said, okay, to be honest, here's what I do. When I'm overseas, I look after myself. Doreen looks after herself. And in respect to fitness, I find something to do over there, but I treat the vacation like a deep reset,
Mhm.
because just like last year, I was on my single speed, I was pushing the pace, I was riding the collective, all of that stuff. Like I went freaking bonkers hard until I was almost cross-eyed 24 hours before we flew. And then I shut that grid down and I went over on vacation and I did a deep recharge. Now, from an external perspective, people will see me moving through a country and they'll think like, all the photos, all the stuff, this, that, what time do they get up? What time do they go to bed? Like it looks like a full day. And it
Mhm.
is a full day, but it's a different kind of full day. It's a day where I'm not like on my single speed going cross-eyed and thinking that there's blood coming out of my ears. I'm not on my heavy bag crushing it. I'm not on dot, dot, dot. So my vacations for me are like a deeply recharging time. And so Doreen, conversely, she's will be over in Vietnam. She's going to run an international competition,
Mhm.
the race. And so, how do we do it now? Well, she identified the race, and in that conversation, we looked at a bunch of different races. She cobbled together kind of like a top 10 around the world that she was interested in. And then her and I sat down and said, that looks good. That one looks complicated. This one fits into. dot, dot, dot. And so we chose the race. We chose the race in Vietnam. And then from the moment that's locked in, we wrap a vacation around it.
Hmm.
So the vacation would appear to be about Doreen, but it isn't. It's about an event that she's going to be running in that we wrap a vacation around that is for us. And so now we've been doing that for a long time. When I was the athlete in the house, per se, international races around the world, the family would come with me and the vacation was wrapped around my race.
Hmm.
So, as an example, 2010 went down to a world championship in Australia. We spent over a month down there, but we were there to race. Once the race was done, the vacation began. And so I'm like riding bonkers hours per day over in Australia. Doreen and the boys are doing their thing.
Hmm.
And so that's how we've always done it. Anywhere in the world, whoever it's about, that's the focus, but we'll wrap it around them. Make sense?
Yeah, I dig that. I like the sequence because it's very militaristic in in the
It
sense
is,
of
for
who's
sure.
what's the main effort,
That's
right?
right.
The main effort right now is the run. The main effort is the race. It doesn't matter what it
That's
is. Like
right.
that's the main effort. Then what's your secondary effort? Well, now
That's
it's
right.
this, and then you're
Yeah,
move from there. So I like the way you wrap the because you're going to Vietnam. Doreen's going to run her race, but then you guys are going to go to Japan
that's right.
and hang out with Keegan, right? So
That's right.
the ability to take those chunks and separate them into different pieces. But I like the way you say a deep reset because that's what hunting is for me. When I get out
Mm,
to the bush, there it is a deep reset where I
hmm.
can everything else goes away. The collective is not
Yeah.
thing in
All
my
it.
head. Even like my kids, my family,
Hmm.
they're always there, but I am able to separate from them and
Hmm.
do the one thing. I'm going to do we are going to do a podcast on this. um, in hunter's persistence, like persistence hunting. Sorry, that's in that
Okay.
you can singularly focus on things for long periods of time,
All right.
and then check in the box. Okay, that's done. I can move on to the next thing,
All right.
and then singularly focus on that. And
All right.
we're gonna do a show on that one at some point.
Okay. I love
It'd
that.
be fun.
That's a good topic.
Yeah. Quick comment here. Catherine Hirschfeld jumps in and says, when my hunting partner Bill and I go out into the woods, it's all chit chat in the truck until we open the doors and our feet hit the ground and the silence begins to hunt us on. That is a great feeling too. I love,
Mm.
I really enjoy that. But
That
that
is
takes
great.
time. That takes
It
time
does. That's a
to
good
build
point,
that
Chance.
type of relationship. And I mean, I
Hmm.
imagine you guys have that too, right? When you guys hit a
We
foreign
do.
country,
Yeah.
you know what you're doing.
A
She knows what
rhythm.
she's doing.
That's right.
Good to go.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
Let's rock. And
100%. And like to your point, it's something that you learn over time. But you don't learn it like, let me retract that. I don't learn it to a degree where, oh, now we've got it nailed. Now we're locked in.
mhm.
Like every time we quote unquote deploy overseas on a vacation or whatever, like there will be new learnings. And so our roles have evolved over the years where, I used to be responsible for this and Doreen would be responsible for that, but we're in a different phase of our life now. We actually had, this will be our, we're traveling without boys again. And so our responsibilities and roles have shifted to some degree, but we found a natural rhythm between Doreen and I to interact. And so let me give you an example because it was mentioned yesterday to the ladies who dropped by. They, one of them asked, like, how do you guys work it? And as Doreen explained, so she's a go to bed early person and get up early person.
Mhm.
I'm a go to late person and get up late person. And
Me too.
so what that allows us to do, as an example, when we were in Thailand last year, and end of last year, Doreen would get up to do early morning runs because it was so freaking bonkers hot. Sometimes she'd be running at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, out in the middle of whereversville in Thailand by herself, like dodging snakes. And that didn't sit very well with me, but like I'm not a runner, so I ain't gonna run alongside of her.
Yep.
So I appreciate that she's out there large and in charge, crushing it, like pretty rad, to be honest.
Mhm.
But when she'd come back from her run, I'd be up. But here's the great part. Like, it's the little things that make a difference, I think. And this is for everyone to think about. Doreen would get up, she'll eat half of her breakfast, she'll make a breakfast. eat half of her breakfast, go out for a run, come back and finish the rest of the breakfast. I'd get up in the morning and my breakfast would be sitting there for me in the fridge.
Hmm.
And it wasn't just a breakfast. It was a Thailand breakfast. And so every morning I'd have different fruit, like dragon fruit, star fruit, this fruit, that fruit, all the bananas, all the things, all the stuff that you wouldn't get in North America. And by the way, dot dot dot, it was freaking amazing. Like all of the flavors actually tasted like fruit, not just in the shape of fruit. And
Hmm.
so I'd wake up in the morning excited for my breakfast because it was always different. It was always fun. It was always cool. And Doreen would have made it for me, and she's making it with her love. And so I
Hmm.
could feel it, man. And so we had our little rhythm. And when she'd be in bed, I'd be doing social media, I'd be doing photos, I'd be doing collective stuff, I'd be doing writing, whatever. So our rhythms are now to some degree different but synchronized based on the needs of the day, as it were.
It reminds me of camp routine,
It's
right? Like
camp routine,
when you
precisely.
fall back into camp routine, it's really great. For those that don't know, when you're in the field, the military,
Mm.
you get into camp routine. There is specific things that need to happen every day. You got to wake up at a certain time. If depending on if you are out in like 10-man tents or if you're in like lines in a proper forward operating base, stuff like that. But sometimes there's PT. Sometimes
Yep.
there's like there's stuff to do. You got to
There's
make sure your
things to
weapons are
do.
clean. There's training to do. There's da 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 da. Da. And when you fall into that camp routine, no one needs to say anything. You
Hmm.
wake up, you start doing your jobs, and everyone works together, and you put aside your own feelings of those moments, regardless of what they are. If you're sore, you're
Hmm.
tired, you're bummed out, you're pissed off, whatever it
It's got
is,
to get done.
it's got to get done. So you can do it pissed off now, or you can do it pissed off later. Like there's no the choice isn't whether or not you're going to get it done. The
It's going to
choice is
get
whether
done.
it's going
It's
to get done.
whether you're a jerk or not.
Yeah. And one of the things I learned early was you have to you have to find the enjoyment in those things. So
It's
whatever
fact.
your job is, you start to enjoy it. So like when I'm out hunting and I'm climbing and I'm feeling sorry for myself because like, oh god, these hills suck again. Uh, I I sit and think like, I'm glad I can still do this. Like I'm
Hmm.
glad not only do I have the opportunity with the land and the place and uh, the way it works with my family and the fact that that is still available to me, but physically that I'm still up there climbing those mountains and I'm good with it. I'm happy about those moments, even though they suck in that moment. Or when I'm cleaning out my stove, well, I just ate a great meal.
Mm.
Like fantastic. Why am I feeling bad about this? And so you take those moments of gratitude and you apply that, you like overlay them on everything else, and then it makes that makes the whole trip enjoyable because there's always something you could complain about. You could
Always.
always find something to whine about. And
And by the way, this doesn't stand for combat engineers. Like you guys don't get to claim this one. Only the infantry gets to claim this one. It's our God-given right to complain. That's what the infantry is known for. We we will complain about something because we have earned the right to complain because we're usually in the crappiest conditions. Usually.
oh, the ones beside the engineers, yeah, I remember.
That's right. But just a bit crappier than the engineers. And so like basically I'm okay with a bit of complaining. It's just whether it is done tactfully or not. If you're just a complain machine,
Hmm.
frickin' move along. You and I are not going to get along. But I don't mind a bit of complaining if it's done the right way. But
Hmm.
it's got to be done with style. It's got to almost be done with panache.
I would say it has to be done with panache, not
Yeah.
almost, but like
Yeah, agreed.
because the fun part is when everyone gets in on it and you can complain about
Oh yeah.
anything. So you'll start complaining about
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah, in the torrential downpour, someone's got to say, has to say, geez, I just wish it was raining right now.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I do remember a number of times being absolutely soaking wet, covered in all your rain gear, and now it's soaked, everything's underneath. And somebody looked up and was like, oh man, I got water in my contact. And I was like, yep, you sure do. But when it's in that moment of panache and that little liminal space between that choice that you got to make is like, can I laugh about this or am I going to just whine?
But it's
And
something that you got to learn. Because
It
if you're
is.
brought up in an organization that doesn't have the nuance of these moments, like if it's just a complaining organization that never learned the granularity of how to complain in a fun way, in a cool way, in a good way,
Hmm.
then you're just a complaint machine that was never taught how to complain in a cool way. Complaining is fun if you can do it right. It's just if you don't understand how to do it well and you're just a complainer, that's a different thing.
This reminds me of there's a moment in Saving Private Ryan, right when they're walking off the beach, just the squad, and Ryben is complaining to the squad themselves, and he's asking the captain, Tom Hanks' character, and he's like, "Well, what would you say? Like this is all messed up. What would you say if, say, I was a colonel and you were a captain, or maybe you were a private and I was a sergeant?" Because grapes go up, and he was like, "Well, I would say, sir, that this is a great opportunity for us to carry on and
All
thinking
right, I
about
remember
right."
that scene. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And it's understanding how to gripe. How do you
Yeah,
do it?
and how he did it, at how Tom Hanks did it in that moment was, it was like polished and professional,
Yeah,
and just it was done right.
yeah, exactly. I think that's an important thing, but that comes from skill. That comes from
It does.
doing it wrong a bunch of times. It comes from doing it right a bunch of times.
It
It comes from the
obviously, yeah.
amalgamation of all that. And then, of course, it pays to be a winner because if you can get a smile or get a laugh or
That's
something like
right.
that,
Yeah, that's
you,
right.
you're that guy for a couple of seconds and makes
Yeah.
life a little bit better. I
And
got a comment.
that moment, so sorry, that
Yep.
moment that you're talking about, that's the troops bonding in that moment.
Yes.
They're all, if you remember that, well, obviously you remember that moment, they're all looking in to see how this is all going to unfold, how he's going to play that next move. And if you do it right, it's a bonding moment, it's a growth moment. But if you're just complaining and you can't do it with style or like a twinkle in your eye or a sense of humor as he did,
Hmm.
then, that is not a bonding moment.
It's the funny thing is that it you have to want to see the humor in that in
You do.
the
You do.
stupidity of it, or like
Yeah.
you have to want to be there.
Yeah.
And
And the group that are wrapped around the person who's, complaining artfully at that moment,
mhm,
they've got to want to buy into the humor of it.
yeah.
Cuz like there'll be a sourpuss always. There always is. At least one
Hmm.
who just ain't having any of it cuz he's a goof. He's a jerk. He It doesn't matter. You could hover him towards the objective on a silver platter and he'd be bummed. He just steals the light out of the room.
Yeah,
So humans are complicated.
that we are, and we not only that, the group not only has to want to be there, and there is that one sourpuss, but when you're having a bad day, which you always have out in
Yeah,
the field, like bad days happen. You wake up wrong, you sleep on a route, you friggin' do something to your boot, whatever. You get a rock in there. Um, it's really easy to find things to be a sourpuss about. Really easy.
yeah,
And if you got a good group of dudes around you, and I say dudes in a very generic sense, and you got some troops around you that are great, man, you can turn a really bad day into just a hilarious,
yeah.
great moment to that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And I mean,
But it's got to be taught.
it's got to
Like
be taught.
you
It's got to
that
be
is
exampled.
it. Correct. And it is typically, as a new generation coming in, it's the previous generation that is supposed to influence or shape or culturize this moment. You're supposed to learn from the dudes who are, just a couple of years in front of you.
Hmm.
But if it's not passed on, then that's when things go so sideways.
I think the challenge in that is when it doesn't get passed around intentionally,
That's right. It has to
right?
be intentionally.
Because it's a leadership moment. It is
Mhm.
a time for you to be able to step up into a
It can't
role
be
if you're that
assumed
guy.
that everyone's picking up what you're putting down. Not on
Exactly.
that one, anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dan C commented a little bit earlier. He said, I came off deployment and fell fast asleep when I got home. My daughter started crying at 0200. So I got up, tucked in my socks, and started heading towards my boarding gear. uh, the, uh, this lack of sleep will definitely mess with your head pretty early. But
Well, it can.
when you're dealing with kids, there's been a number of things when I got home that I had to smile about, actually, because I've been gone for 5 days or 6 days. My wife has been at home. She takes vacations so that she can look after the kids while I'm away. And she hit me with some of the things that, oh, Arden was up last night doing this, or Kinley was feeling this way on certain days, and I get to sit back and smile now. Whereas before I'd been like, oh, you're just gonna hit me with complaints right off the bat. But now I'm like this is stuff that I miss now. I go
Mm.
out for these things for these resets, and I look forward to coming home now.
Oh, look at you,
And
dad
I'm
of the
wondering,
week.
for you now, when you go off for these long trips because you're doing them months at a time,
Mm.
where is that longing to get home to your back to your
That's a
routine?
great
Where does that
question.
kick in?
For Doreen and I, we both find at about the 6 week mark,
Mm,
that's where we start not wanting to get home. Like, here's what it really is for me, honestly. I can live anywhere in the world. I can hang my hat anywhere in the world. And I've been saying this since I was in my young 20s. Wherever it's hanging, that's where I'm living.
hmm
And so I bounce into a country, I hang my hat on a hook. That's my home.
That's home, yeah.
And so I don't like Roslyn is my patrol base, but the world is my mission. And
Mm,
so it's kind of my home, but I don't really think that way. Wherever my feet are, that's my home. And so when I'm overseas, it's not that I want to get back to Canada per se at about the 6 week mark. What I do feel is the spending fatigue.
mm,
And I think I've mentioned this before, but I just get tired of spending money.
yeah.
I just, I'm, and like in Vietnam, we'll be going and eating meals that are going to be amazing and it'll cost me $2.
Yeah.
For the two of us, it might cost us 350. So it's Canadian. So that it's not like I'm spending a lot of money. It's just the spending
It's
never
constant.
ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
You're never not
constant.
spending money.
And I'm always looking for a deal. And Doreen and I travel very frugally to some degree. But I just get tired of spending money, man. Now we're spending money here in Canada. We're spending more. But it's just that it's going out all the time. All day, every day. It's just you're seeing the paper disappear in front of your face. Over here in Canada, the paper
Watching the
disappears like
stack.
invisibly.
Yeah. It's
But
all
over there,
automatic at this point.
you're feeling it because you're
Yeah.
just constantly spending.
Do you think there's anything about the familiarity of your patrol base that is like a desire to get back to? Because when I travel, it's almost instantaneous of just like, man, I like it reminds me of all the things that I like about the life that I've built right now.
Yeah,
Is the fact that, like I like waking up next to my wife. I like in
yeah.
our
The
bed, all,
bed, the light,
all the
the
little things,
smell, the
right?
this,
The
all
familiarity,
the
exactly. And,
familiarity of the routine is good for
but
sure.
at the same time, I'm similar to you in mindset in that like wherever my hat is, that's home for now.
That's
This
right.
is where I'm at.
Mm,
Um, but I do miss the familiarity of the routine
mm.
within the house of like, hey, we gotta wake up, get the
Yeah,
kids out, we gotta do
I
the
don't
things.
miss the routine.
No,
I just don't. I don't miss it like that. What I just get is spending fatigue. I could quite comfortably and quite happily spend the rest of my dying days um, traveling the world without, ever coming back to Roslyn, quite frankly.
Hmm.
There's so much in the world to see.
yeah.
There's, I don't know, what are we, 40 plus countries, 10 to 50 countries now. There's like a bunch of other countries that I would love to see.
What's on your bucket list?
Well, I mean, right now we've pretty much cracked the nut on Southeast Asia.
Hmm?
We've hit pretty much all the countries that we want to. So over the years now,
Like
and
let's just say there's teleporters right now. You could
yeah,
just leave right
where
now. Where
would I
would you go?
go? Mm, that's a good question. I think that where I haven't been yet that I would like to go is India.
Ooh, that'd be
I mean,
interesting.
I did some work in Pakistan back in the day. Super spy
Hmm.
stuff as a civilian,
Secret squirrel.
dodging. But
You need to get
India,
one of
I've
these
never been
guys.
there. Yes, there it is, buddy. There it is. All the acorns.
Yeah.
Um, so India, I'd like to see. And then I spent a chunk of my life in South America working. I do like it down there.
Hmm.
I would probably like to go and see Argentina at some point, preferably when the dollar is strong and the steaks are cheap. So, mm, yeah, I don't have a ready answer for you because, the burning countries or the countries that I really wanted to go see, I've already seen.
Hmm.
And I don't necessarily feel like I need to repeat countries, though we are going back to Vietnam kind of 18 years after we were
Yeah, two
there with the
decades is
boys.
a big
It's a big
big
change.
shift, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I expect the country to be significantly different. And I've been doing my recon, at night. I'll be on the YouTubes. I'm hunting for all of the hole in the wall, 12 cent whatevers, and so I'm getting my recon. I realize that the country's changed significantly, but um, typically we don't repeat a country.
You know, it's interesting. When I asked you the question, the first one that popped in my mind that I would love to go see is Mongolia. I would
Oh,
love to
interesting.
see the steppes and ride those
Hmm.
horses and watch the grass. One of my favorite moments in life, and this is I could sit and watch this all day, is watching grass roll in the wind, like
Right.
the waves of it, and it is amazing. And the open hillsides, and it just reminds me of home so much that I would love to see
It
it
would.
over
Yeah.
there. But that was the first thing that clicked in my head as I was asking that question. So I
We've
think
thought
that is,
about, Dream and I've talked about Mongolia, and I mean, I'm interested in seeing the steppes. I'm interested in, living in a yurt and eating,
yeah,
fermented milk products and all that stuff. So, that's all good, but it'd be a stretch for me to be there 6 weeks.
yeah, oh for sure. Yeah, I
Mm,
don't know if I can do 6 weeks in
yeah,
Mongolia, but
yeah, yeah.
it would be an interesting like ride through. I I watched a video on Instagram at one point of a guy who said he wanted to walk across Mongolia, and
Oh yeah.
he did. He walked across
Did he
Mongolia,
do it
but
with a dog?
I think he might have done it with a
Because
dog. It was a while.
I watched a guy do the same thing, but he did it with a dog, and he crossed right into Europe.
Yeah,
It's quite a good
I think
video.
it might have been the same guy, but I
Mm,
remember pieces of it of him just going like, it just keeps going. Like
it
it's
keeps
just
going. That's right.
hills after
Yeah,
hills after hills, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see that for a little while.
for a long time.
And then I would want to move on to
Depending on
something
how
else.
fast you walk, it could be longer.
Yeah, exactly. Glenn jumped in here.
Hey,
What's
what's
good,
up,
fellas?
buddy?
What's going on, buddy? Um, so if you're going to do a month in Vietnam, it's 3 weeks in
Six
Vietnam,
weeks.
6 weeks in Vietnam,
Mm.
and then another 6 in Japan.
No, Japan is, I guess, about 3 weeks,
3 weeks
just
in
under
Japan.
3 weeks.
Okay. And are you going to Toyama, or are you going to meet Keegan somewhere else?
That's right. So we are flying from, let's see, we're going from Hoi An up to Da Nang. So we're flying out of Da Nang into Toyama.
Mm,
And we link up with Keegan at university in Toyama. He doesn't get off school until the 26th of December. And so Evan is flying over. He'll arrive on the 21st of December,
mm.
and he'll hop on a train in Tokyo, meet us up in Toyama. We'll pick him up at the train station in the evening. And then on the 26th, Keegan's finished. Then we bounce down to a place called Takayama, which you can kind of think of as not the Banff of Japan. It's kind of like maybe more of a Canmore,
Okay.
uh, Canmore minus maybe.
Little mountain
Uh,
town, Cochrane kind of deal.
yeah, kinda. I mean, I've seen lots of photos. I've read really good things. It's a historical um, town
Mm,
that a lot of the original lumber in the houses is still in place from hundreds of years ago. So it's kind of like that sort of vibe. And from there, Takayama, we're heading down to Tokyo after 3 days, and we'll be in Tokyo for the 30th, and we'll be there right through to the 5th of January. So, New Year's in Tokyo.
that'd be interesting to say the least.
Well, it's really interesting. So, local guy here, good dude on the BJJ mats. He called me out of the blue this morning and said, "Dude," I was like, "What's up, buddy?" And he said, "Thanks so much for hassling me to get on testosterone." And I said, "Okay, yeah, good. How you making out?" And so it's been 6 weeks now that he's started his TRT, and he was kind of in the hurt locker. Now he's got his numbers up to like kind of where I'm sitting at,
Mm,
conservative, lowest dosing, while you're still getting pretty good recovery, pretty good sleep, pretty good muscle retention, but you're not anabolic. You're not like, you're not pursuing what I think of as fake, unearned muscles.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 weeks. He feels so much better on so many levels that I can't even begin to describe all of them. But he called me just to say thanks. And I said, cool, man, what you got coming up? And he said, oh, you're not going to believe it. I just booked a family trip to Japan. I was like, oh, yeah, when you going? And it's through the Christmas time. I said, dude, we'll be there. Doreen and I'll be there on December 17th, right through to January 5th. He's like, what? We might cross paths. I said, you've got my DM. Hit me up. So
Mhm.
who knows? We might end up kind of hanging out with a couple of Roslanders while we're over there.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how the world is so massive
Yeah.
and yet
So
so
small.
small sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and it is it's kind of a beautiful little moment to be able to find somebody that you know in a
That's crazy,
completely
right?
foreign nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the story of how you and Doreen met, right? Like,
That's right.
you just see a
Yeah.
little Canada flag, and you're like,
That's
ah,
right. That's right.
I know
Yeah.
that. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And your life can change so significantly in just a fleeting moment of and maybe not even paying much attention to the fleeting moment. It can just change in a heartbeat.
It
But
absolutely
it's whether
can.
you're aware of it or not.
Well, this is another topic for a podcast we're going to do because Doug brought this up
Hmm.
while we were driving around. Was the like natural endings? Everything comes to an end.
It's true.
So
Hmm.
how do you manage that? How do you accept that this part of whatever it is now gone? We're going to move on to the next thing, and whether that is your career or a pet or a family
Or
member
life.
or
Yeah.
life in general, like
Hmm.
it's just there are times that all things end, and then you got
Yeah.
to
Natural
manage that.
conclusion. Yeah.
Natural conclude. That was the word he would use, was natural conclusion.
But one thing, so I thought I thought he would have probably been referring to the natural conclusion, but I just want to be careful, not now or the podcast, just want to state generally that conclusion doesn't mean like the end.
Yeah,
It's just a conclusion of a phase. The next phase begins immediately after that. And so the conclusion isn't like, oh no. It is simply a conclusion.
yeah,
It isn't the ending.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, Travis asked me with outside of interference from Doug, he hit me on the side while we were having breakfast one day, and he said, "What's your end game for the collective?" And I was like, "I'm not really sure. Like, I have
Oh,
an idea."
I know what the end game is right now. Did
You know, the
I
funny thing is,
passed this on to you like at the start of the podcast, I
I
believe, when we first
specifically
started
said,
this whole thing.
I was like, "I'm not sure, but I know Shaun has a plan." Sean's got a plan already. I know you're just gonna smoke bomb it and disappear one day, and I'm never gonna see
That's
you again.
right.
And
As
but
I stated on day
the very
one.
beginning, yeah. And I was looking at it like, Sean looks at things in terms of a decade, and that's kind of where
That's
I'm
right.
gonna be 4 more years. I'll be at a decade in terms of podcasting,
Yeah, right.
and I
I
really
guess
enjoy this
we're only
medium.
3 years in now, right?
3 years of this, and then I had
Yeah.
3 years of the tools beforehand, so I'm at
Yeah, yeah.
6 plus another 3. It puts me at 9. But on top of that, I'm just enjoying the whole
Oh
process
yeah.
still. Like, I
Yeah,
still
right. Yeah,
love
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
podcasting, and
Yeah, yeah.
there's gonna be a time where I go, okay,
There will.
I think I'm done,
A
and
natural conclusion.
pass on. And I was talking about the Canadian Walk for Veterans as well. Same thing. I did 5 years of that, and I hit that point where I was like, "Yep, I think I can move on now."
Now, hang on a sec. So and we can't do this right now because we've got to save it for the podcast. But transitioning isn't a conclusion, as it were. And
Yes.
so, let's just not dive into this thematically. I'm going to change the subject a touch, but I
Okay.
just want to say this: that this morning, coincidentally, there's today something occurred 5 years ago that I'm not going to dig into that is not Doreen or I related, but it is related to family. And so it's not a great story, but 5 years ago is when this occurred. And Doreen said it to me this morning, man, can you believe it's been 5 years since dot, dot, dot? And I said, wow, I can't believe it's been 5 years. And she said, and I laughed, she said, man, you know what? I've started to realize that the older I get, the faster time seems to move. And I said,
Mhm.
hang on a sec, dear. So, can we just take a moment now to consider this? That given that I'm almost 10 years older than you, I'm just over 9 years older than you, you've probably heard me say for almost a decade now, and you kind of laughed about it. And sometimes you would say, like, oh, it's not. I started saying, man, time moves fast. It is moving faster than I remember. It's going by in a blink of an eye. And she used to, and then,
Sure it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then just a few years ago, I started because you feel it. You don't feel it yet. You think you feel it, but you're not feeling what I'm about to describe. You're feeling a loose definition of something that you think you understand, but you won't understand, I think, until you're in your 60s. That's generally what I've observed from people who are in their 60s. I've talked to them about this.
Mhm.
And it is this that you start feeling your mortality way more. You start seeing the end of the tunnel. You can, it's just right around the corner and you
Yep.
can feel it. And if you're smart, if you're, if you're aware, not smart, if you're aware, you'll not only feel it, but you will intellectually understand that. And then you're left with the problem of what to do about it. And so in your 40s, you don't have to think about what to do with it. In your 60s, you do. And so, as I said to Doreen this morning, the 5 years that has gone by since then, you feel it in a way that is different than I do. It's even faster for me. So when you get to my age right now, you'll understand, Doreen, that things just move faster as you get older. A year will go by in a blink of an eye. And next year, a year will go by in half a blink of an eye. That's
Mhm.
just the way it is.
I think it's interesting because you
And I mean, I
don't.
fill my year, dude. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't fill my
No.
life.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that, it's not like I'm laying down on the couch and a year goes by and I think, geez, what did I do? I ate some Doritos. That ain't me. But it just goes by so fast.
I agree. And what you were saying is that I don't have to think about it in my 40s, and you're right. I don't
That's
have
right.
to, but I do. I do
Well, you
think
have to
about
be
it in my
aware.
40s. I have to be
Yeah,
aware of it,
you
and
have to be aware.
if you're aware of it, you can start thinking about it,
You
and then you
can.
can start managing it. And so
Yeah.
when I started doing that in my 40s, was where I started going, man, I need to like really enjoy what I'm doing right now. I like my
You
time
have to.
becomes that much more precious,
Hmm.
and I got to guard it that much uh, more so.
But guarding, so hang on a sec. The guarding word is a bit of a problematic word for me because if you're guarding, now you're hoarding
Mhm.
to some degree.
To some
If you're
degree.
guarding, you're now not like you haven't opened the portcullis. You see
Mm,
what I'm saying?
mm. It is
Like you're closing
behind
the
Bailiwick.
portcullis, you've got archers up on the on the walls, and you're like, now I'm guarding my life,
Not my life, my
my
time.
time.
And
Same for me, but
yes,
your
so I
time.
think I'm going to use guarding as the term because I need to, because I'm really generous with my time,
Mm.
and I have to be really guarded about where I put it because I will dump it into things that aren't really important or aren't necessary.
Then you've got to be careful with your word. You've got to be careful with your what guarding means to you. And I understand the spirit of what you're saying, and you're right. You do have to. We all have to. But as soon as you use the term guard, it can morph into no one gets anything unless I decide I'm unguarding
Mm.
to the extreme. You
Okay.
see
Yeah.
what I'm
No, I
saying?
hear. I see what you're saying.
Hmm.
Then a better word I'm going to use is I need to better invest my time.
That's a fair word. How does that
That's where I'm
work in
going
the
to go.
castle, though? Is the portcullis open or closed? Do
the
you have the
port,
marketplace open? Is that what we're talking
the
about?
marketplace is open.
Okay.
The gates are open.
Hmm.
People can
It's
come
open
in,
trade.
but there
Hmm.
are archers on the walls,
Yeah.
and there is put someone at the gate, and there is someone checking to make sure everyone that goes in needs to be there.
Oh, that's
So
fair.
there are guards at the gate, but the gate is open. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because you know what I'm talking about is a market economy, which is
Yep,
your life, your ins and outs, your inputs, outputs. So the moment that you close that portcullis, you get no more inputs. You're actually not putting out much either.
that's true. Yeah, and you got to rely on your reserves
Yeah, you
at
do.
that point. You're
Yeah.
not getting anything new coming in for
And
sure.
and because your admin sucked, you're now living on moldy corn for the next year
Huzzah!
in the back corner of the castle. Wow.
Up in the Mott and Bailey. Yeah. Quick comment here. Dan C says, I read a psychology report about that. They concluded that in early life, we're always learning new life experiences. And as we get older, there's less learning. So time isn't taken up learning.
Yeah, I don't believe
It
that at
says,
all.
I try to keep learning. That's what my wife tells me. I act like a 12-year-old.
Go back to that
Yeah.
previous.
Okay.
I can't get behind that. I believe I understand that Dan is explaining something in a way that is he wanted to do it in a different way. I don't think he wanted to do it in this way, because what I take away from that is as we get older, there's less learning. And I couldn't disagree more. What I will say is, as we get older, you'll realize that there's way more to learn than you thought.
Mm. I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
think there is.
Life to me is an inverted triangle.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
it isn't a triangle.
I think the way I took it, at least as I was reading it, was that there's
Your time's taken up, Bo.
your time is taken up for sure,
Yeah.
but it's in the experience. So you have experience in so many things already in life that you can, and this is where I see what most people do, is they then say, okay, well, I've seen enough. And like there's like a little nod in their own head, like, okay,
But
good.
that's a different. You're describing in a completely different paragraph.
True.
You're talking about how people respond to what their beliefs are. But if we're talking just straight up, as you get older, you'll realize that there's way more to learn than you thought.
Well,
It's the inverted triangle.
and
Period.
it comes with the more you understand, the more you realize how much there is to learn.
Correct.
100%. And there is a every time I think I make like this epiphany, like, oh my God, why haven't I done this before in my life? I need to be able to just XYZ. The moment I dive into that, I realize that that is actually a single piece of a 10-part puzzle
Oh, for sure.
that now I got to put together. I got to learn all those other things. Same thing with podcasting. Same thing. The army is the same way.
Dan C. Using Dan C. as his own case study. He just started turning wood on a lathe.
Yeah.
Like he just started wood bowls. Scrap pieces of wood and turning them into something nice. I have one of his pieces. He gave to me at Operation Pegasus Jump this summer. Thank you, Dan. But now, Dan, how about this? You won't live long enough to learn everything about just turning a wooden bowl. You just won't. You'll never be the man. You'll never be the subject matter expert in woodwork. You just won't, because you don't have enough time left, because you can't learn everything about it. If you'd have started when you were 15, you'd have been much closer to learning all the learns, but you never would have learned everything. And that's the way it is. And I'll stand in front of anyone and tell them that. I disagree with what Dan said, and I don't disagree with what I think he was trying to say. I disagree with what he did say.
Yeah. He hit back, said, yep, I wrote that wrong. Thank you for the clarification. Okay. So 100%.
And Dan knows this.
Yeah.
Like he could have said exactly what I just said. I just think he, like you said, he misexplained it.
I give everyone a little bit of play when it comes to typing out your thoughts on the show live. It can be sometimes tricky, especially when you're listening and trying to keep track of what's being said, and then you gotta like put your thoughts down. So I give them a little bit of leeway.
And I won't.
And you won't, which is fine.
No. And the reason that I won't, and it's not because it's mean-spirited, it's because it's sloppy. And it's a bit sloppy by Dan, but it'd be way more sloppy if I just kind of let that brush by.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to Dave Curvin in a podcast last night when we were talking about standards.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that when I was in 2 Commando, we worked with 3 Commando a lot, which is the RCR. And I heard it nearly every day from them, never pass a fault. And as a Patricia, I kind of picked it up as one of my mantras, never pass a fault. And so I try not to pass a fault. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be mean-spirited about it, but I'm just not going to turn a blind eye to anything. And if I don't say anything in that moment, it's because I didn't see it or I didn't think it. It's not because I'm lazy to some degree.
Yeah, I agree with you. The challenge I have, at least from from my point of view of maintaining the conversation, keeping it going, is that I'm not gonna. I have to again prioritize my time, so I got to be able to move on to a new comment or continue on the conversation. But the fact that we work together so well, and the fact that you're like, whoa,
right,
bring that back,
because I got a role to play as well.
Exactly, 100%. There's something for you to do here on the show. Nancy then says, absolutely, it makes me feel good. And then he says, I was playing on the lathe while typing. You are 100%. Yeah, exactly. There you go. This is fantastic. Now, coming up, I want to talk about what's coming up for the collective just in general. So we have, you're going to be gone on vacation. I'm going to be working in the background, doing all the stuff and building my studio, making sure everything's good to go. and we have a bunch of awesome recorded episodes that we're going to be putting out throughout the next 2 months. We are still going to be doing the photo contests.
That's right.
Those are going to still be live. They're going to be at the end of the month, just as per normal. The next photo contest that is starting, the photo contest number 4 starts tomorrow, and you can start taking your photos on service and what that means to you and all that good stuff. Any thoughts from you on photographs of service? What are your first thoughts?
Dave and I were talking about it in his podcast last night, just a touch. And I mean, there's so many different ways to take service in the month of November. But what I did state to him is like, just don't default to the giveaway moment, which is, Remembrance Day. Service on Remembrance Day is for sure, it needs to be captured. It is service and it is important and all that good stuff. But how about November 10th and November 12th? Those are still days that a person can capture service. So my only thought to him was like, don't cherry pick just November 11th as the service photo.
Mhm.
Those are easy photos. Challenge yourself to take service photos when it's not as obvious.
Yeah, I like that, because I don't want to limit anybody to go take a picture on Remembrance Day or Veterans Day down in the US, or just like look for service in your community.
That's right.
And then take a photo of it, whether
That's
that
right.
is at a parade or not. But keep your mind open to the fact that service is long standing, and it is outside of just that one day or that one ceremony.
That's right.
Because sometimes there are great moments of service in
Oh, they are.
those.
They're every year. The moment that I say this, you should be able to think back and remember that I've put these photos up. So since I've been on social media right about this time of year is when the poppies come out.
Yep.
People start wearing the poppy. And every year I've captured a photo of one of the old girls here in town, one of the old ladies, volunteers, in their Salvation Army getup with the whole rigmarole, and I'll take a photo of them, and I'll take a photo of one of the ladies and make it like the fate of the planet rests on getting a good portrait of this lady right now. Like I want to do it so right, and that is a way that you can capture service. A lot of the people who are integral to Remembrance Day actually occurring have never been in the military, but they are serving. And in fact, their service is sometimes more service oriented than some people who are currently serving.
Yep.
And so, like it's all around us. I just challenged Dave, like lightly challenged him to just don't cherry pick the 11th. I mean, you can take the photos on the 11th, but you can take it on other days as well.
Yeah. And I mean, really, when you stop and think about it, the service to your community, service to your family, service to your nation, service to your whatever, right? It can become, there's a lot of ways to play it.
It could be a school teacher. It could be a frickin' waiter, man. But
Yeah.
not just because they're serving you, but because of the way they are serving. It doesn't have to necessarily be about the moment for you where you realize that, oh, this person is of service. I can capture moments of service from across the street, invisible to the people on the other side of the street, and never talk to them. You can capture service. You can see it from a mile away if you're looking for it. The problem is most people don't look for service other than on November 11th.
Yeah. Yep. Which is I think a little bit of the problem that's going on right now within Canada is the fact that the only time people look at a lot of veteran issues is around Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. Service.
So your challenge is you're going to have to put out the Clippy McClip for the photo contest number 4 service.
I did that already.
Did that already go out?
Yeah, already went out. It went out the
When
day
was
we
that?
talked about it on the 22nd before I went for the hunting trip.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, 23rd. I think I actually put it out, but
right, that's right.
Yeah, I'm going to re-release it just to make sure everybody's on.
Actually, that was a really good one. Now that I think about it, I was about to ask you to do it in that way, but you did it. That's right.
Good to go. Yeah. Well, I'll make sure I'm going to repost it just to get it out again and get people looking at it. But one of the interesting things, and I want to ask you this question, is I'm going to be doing the speaking thing in front of my kids' school again for Remembrance Day.
What's it? I'm going to voices.
No, it's just or through
through the
Memory Project.
That's it, Memory Project. project.
Yes, the memory project. So if you're a veteran out there and you want to be part of school assemblies for Remembrance Day, by all means, look them up. The memory project.
Can you make a note to put that
I'll put
in
it in the show
the
notes for
show
sure.
descriptions?
Yep,
Yeah.
I will write it down right now. While I'm writing it down, though, I'm wondering what you're going to do for Remembrance Day while you're in Vietnam.
It's so for the last is it the last 3 years I've been out of town on Remembrance Day, I
Yep.
think. And so usually what I'll do is I'll kind of recon around in the days leading up to see if there's anything in the country that is like service member related, or like in
Cenotaph or
Thailand,
something.
I didn't find anything,
Mhm.
or et cetera. But this year, who knows? So I'll look around, but ultimately, like for me, for Remembrance Day, I've done it so many different ways by myself that I never feel like I have to be around the troops. I don't
Mm.
feel like I've got to commune on that day. I'm not saying that I I wouldn't, or I'd like to, but I don't, because typically that is not how my life has unfolded year over year. So I'm quite comfortable by myself thinking what I think and reflecting on what I reflect and nodding for the service, etc. But
Yeah.
I don't. I don't need to be clinking glasses. I don't need to be swaying back and forth with my arm around someone singing, sea shanty songs or anything like that. I can quite easily do it all by myself.
Singing Piano Man. I'll
That's
do
right.
yeah. The fun part about this is, well, for anybody that is wondering, I'm going to be at the Sherwood Park Millennium Place.
The Legion.
Um, that for the not the Legion, but the ceremony itself,
Mm,
and then I'll be over at the Kingsway Legion with the rest of the engineers and all our silliness that happens
mhm.
out there.
And is the sappers usually get together in the same locale?
Yeah, it's usually the Kingsway Legion in Edmonton. A lot of the engineers go there afterwards. Usually,
Mm.
the serving guys all go to the small towns around Edmonton, and
Okay,
they
yeah,
get
yeah,
farmed out,
punched
which
out.
is
Yeah, that's
great.
right.
And I mean, the infantry and the armor,
As it
and all,
should.
everybody
Yeah,
does it
yeah,
as they should.
that's right.
But then afterwards, everyone usually links up at the Kingsway,
Mm,
and I get to see all the old boys and give
mm,
them all the shots in the shoulder and the
mm,
hey, what's up, and all that good
mm.
stuff. It should be fun. I'm
Have you
excited.
done that every year?
Pretty much every year, yeah.
Mm. Was
I
there ever a year that you just didn't want to leave your house?
Yep,
Mm.
yep. There were a number of those.
And was there a year that you didn't?
Yeah, yeah. There were
Okay.
years that I stayed at home. There were years that I stayed at home and didn't drink. There were years that I stayed at home and did drink. There were
Mm,
days that I sought out people at other places. There were days that I wanted to go there and be drink too much versus not enough.
mm, mm,
and I've hit the nice rhythm now where I show up, I have a drink, maybe two, and then I head out nice and
mm,
easy, and then I
mm,
spend the rest of the night uh, really enjoying my family, just
mm,
hanging out with my boys and
mm,
staying with my wife and just enjoying life, because
mm,
in my mind now, that's what it's about. It's not about feeling sad or drinking till I can't see anymore. It's like um, appreciate what I have
So
in that service.
I I know that that's what you're saying, but on your behalf, I want to say that's what you do plus many other things. And so it's not just spending time with your family, and it's not just clinking a couple of glasses. I would say that the Chance Burles of now versus the Chance Burles when I first met him is a more complex dude that, or is a more capable dude, is a better word,
Yep,
that is doing several things throughout that day rather than just the one thing or
for sure.
a couple of things. I
Yep,
I see you as a deeper person now, and if you think about it, you're probably treating the day in a deeper way.
for sure.
Hmm.
Yes, and it becomes it's not a reflective moment, it's a reflective day. Like I wake up in the morning and
Right.
it becomes reflective right off the bat, and
Hmm.
or I choose to make it reflective right off the
That's
bat.
good. I was gonna ask you
Yeah,
to clarify that.
yeah. So once I can wake up and I can remember my friends, and I can think about the troops out back in the day, and I can think about where they are now and where I am, and I can look at my family and the life that I've created, and I can really appreciate all of it for the concept that it is, the framework that I get
Mm,
to utilize to
mm.
look at life through. And
Hey,
it's
listen.
a
it's a bit of a tangential piece, but it's very much in theme with what we're talking about right now. And I think you know him. He's a sapper, and his first name is Matthew, and I'm forgetting his full IG call sign. I've been following him for a while. He's been following me for a while. He got busted up just a couple of months ago. I broke some
Oh
bones or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I
Right.
know
Okay. So you know
Maddie.
who I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
I know Maddie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know him. It's not like we're all up in our DMs holding hands and all that good stuff. But anyway, I saw him put up a post the other day, and he was raising a glass to another individual sapper that
Stephen
is
Marshall.
about
Yeah.
16 years ago. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so, you know, you're very familiar with probably all of this much more so than I am. But here's my point. I watched that yesterday, and I often, like when I see these moments and he was raising it, I don't know if you saw the video or
I did.
not.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Uh, I don't often like those kind of things. And I mean, like, click a like.
Hmm.
I like seeing it, but I don't often click the heart button
Hmm.
on a moment like that. And here's why: because more often than not, what I've observed is there's a fine line between wallowing in victimhood and appropriately giving the nod to the memory that you're trying to appropriately do.
Hmm.
And so I've seen it go both ways, but more often than not, it's a bit of wallowing in victimhood. I didn't see that at all in the video, by the way, of course. I want to be clear.
Hmm.
And that's why I clicked the like button, because I feel that for me, and maybe for others, these reflective moments where you're giving a nod to a comrade who has since passed, I think you can do it respectfully without kind of complaining about it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It comes back to the intention,
It
right?
does.
And like you said, that a lot of times we make it. I know I did for many years. I made it about myself
I
and
think we all
how
do
bad
at
I
some
felt, right?
point.
And
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure, absolutely. But you're right in the fact that it becomes if done well, it becomes an honor to the person that you knew
Hmm.
and the future that you get to live out with their memory
Hmm. It's respectful.
versus a like, oh, my life is so hard now because I have to like,
Without
yeah,
dot, dot, dot. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I'd
Anyway,
like to,
listen, if you know him well
yeah,
enough,
I do.
shoot him a DM or whatever. Just give him a nod today and let him know that we talked about it or whatever. But
Absolutely.
anyway, I just thought he did it well,
Yeah.
whatever that
Maddie.
means.
So the funny thing is, Maddie and I, we served together back in the regiment. He was just slightly behind me, so he came
Hmm.
in after.
Did you just
Uh,
call him dumber than you are?
yes,
That is
he is as
unbelievable.
well. But no, that's the point. No, Maddie's a good dude.
Uh,
He's been doing a lot of stuff. He's been out searching for adventure up in the
yeah,
north
I've
and
seen
doing
it.
his thing. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I've been
like,
tracking him.
but
We should, I've got some thoughts on some of that stuff as well, of course. But
for sure,
would he be able? Would he be good on a
I'm good.
podcast or no?
I could get him on the show. Yeah,
Well, you could
I'm
run it
not
by
sure.
him, see what he
I'm not
thinks.
sure if he would. I don't know if we'd be able to keep up with you. That's the problem.
Be a lot of work.
You'd be coming at him like with everything you got, all the questions, and he'd be like,
Not
"Oh
at
my
all. Not at
god!"
all.
No, but Maddie would be good.
Hey, listen, before you move on, I can do that for sure. But before we move on, I want everyone to understand that I have a velocity that I can manipulate.
Bring it down.
I'm not 10 out of 10 every single show for every single person. I try
It's
to
true.
read the room, and when I'm reading the room, what I do is I read the room correctly and then just give it a little bit of a dial twist too. Oh, that's just a touch too much. That feels good. So I don't go all in. What I
True.
do
Yes.
do is I go in enough so that we've got a touch of, not, I call it tension or friction, but that isn't a negative thing. It is just enough to get things moving, you know?
The only reservation I have with having Maddie on the show is the fact that I don't know if he could go an hour without swearing.
I knew that. That was my very first thought.
So that would be the challenge at the very
Dude, I
root of
know.
it. But
But you know what?
he's a good dude.
If he made even if he only just swore once or twice, I would appreciate that he'd made an effort.
Yeah.
For me,
I
it's
think
about making an effort.
as much as I love the dude, I think if he was on here, he might make it a minute or two. I don't know about now.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
it was just a thought.
absolutely. I could, and we could absolutely. I could get some. There's a few people actually. One of my old warrant officers, Terry Walaniak, he was on here just a second ago on the Instagram side watching,
Oh, nice.
and I'd love to get him on the show as well. He's a great dude. He was one of the few
Dude, get a
warrant
bunch
officers
of
that gave me like,
sappers on.
I should. We just do a sapper show. I like it.
I'll be honorary
The
Chimo,
honorary Chimo. I like it.
preceding all of you.
We'll get that started for, you know what, I'll set that up for
We should.
January because
Yeah,
I got
that'd
some
be
good
great.
dudes who would be fantastic to be on here. And
Yeah,
these guys are now senior dudes. So
that's fantastic.
Terry was he was the chief of Task Force North,
Hmm.
like the chief warrant officer for all of the Northern Command.
Yeah, nice.
And then another guy I want to bring on, Scotty. He's Sergeant Major. He's looking at chief right away. Like he's another great
He's
dude.
actively serving right now.
Actively serving right now.
That
Just
would
got
make it
back
a bit tricky if
from
he's
Latvia,
okay
I
with
think.
it. Yeah.
Same with Terry. I think he's still serving as well. He's on the cusp of getting out though.
Hmm.
So anyway, great dudes. I'll set
Yeah,
it up. We'll
get
get some sappers
Jurgen
on.
in, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
maybe.
he shot me a video of his young buck, frickin' burly,
Mm,
serve in the sappers now, and he's a big kid. His
nice.
son. Yeah, gets squared
I love.
away as well.
You know, the funny thing is that as much as I had a distaste for the regiment, I have great pride in my trade, and like
You
the
do.
engineer's job
Yeah,
is
that's true.
it is hard work and
It's
it's not an
second to
easy
none,
task.
other than the
Yeah.
infantry.
No, just second to none in general. But
It's second.
well, you know what? As long as you guys stay behind us while we're clearing the minefield,
But we
you're
never
good.
do. We're usually running around like
Just
lunatics.
running around like lunatics. Yeah, that's the beauty of the engineer infantry
Relationship.
relationship. Yeah, exactly. It's fun. We love picking at each other. That's the game.
Yeah.
That's
But you know, like I don't know what it's like now, and I don't know what it was like when you were in. I know what it was like when I was in, and it was always pecking, but it was
Mhm.
pecking in a fun way. It
Absolutely.
was never like so mean spirited that like people are getting upset. I mean, it's okay if people get upset if it's in fun,
Mhm.
but like if you're being a real jerk, I'm not good with that.
When I was in, so I'll give you my view of it. When I was in, it was a lot of the same thing. We would poke at each other and
Mm,
peck at each other and like, oh yeah, well we were here and we were there and so on and so forth, and be like, your Guidon has so many battle honors and ours doesn't have any because we've been in every single battle. So
mm. Oh, I
sorry,
just thought you were going to go in the direction of we're kind of like the infantry, but
but
weaker,
better,
but
but
light,
better,
but
but
soft,
better.
but half a man.
And so all of this is the beauty of it, and the relationship was it's all fun and games, and when it's game on,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it's
of
game
course.
on. Everybody's got a job, and it's
Yeah, everyone's
super
in the
easy to
game.
set up. And
Mm,
like we were talking earlier, when you get a good team together that can just nod at each other
yeah.
and go to town, then it's a great
Yeah.
feeling. And
Get a show, dude. Get a show.
I
Squared
will
up.
set it up. I'll get it.
All right.
I'll get some sappers on, and we can talk
Yeah.
sapper language, and no one will understand what
Let's
we're
make it a
talking
gold mine though, so I don't have to hang out with sappers a full 2 hours.
for 2 hours. Oh my god! I would actually love to set up a. Maybe we can do a trade setup, and we can do a bunch of different
Oh, that's fun.
combat arms
Yeah.
over a period of time.
We should hit up the freaky Air Force and Navy though.
Mm.
I mean, not that they deserve to be on the show, but
I mean, the Air Force
Throw 'em
in
a bone.
general, just walking around in their light
we're
blue.
only teasing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one thing that I love about the military, with across the board, with all the trades and all the different things, is that at its root, it is a community,
Yeah, that's true.
and that is the key thing: is that we're all trying to do a job that can be really hard at times, and the best teams that do, or the people that do that the best, have a really great time to look back on.
Yeah, that's true.
But it requires everyone to be in the game.
Yeah, you
You
got to
got to
be in the
be,
game. You got to be in the rhythm.
yeah.
You got to know why you're there. And you know, like there are a lot of guys, and I'm not saying like so many guys that it's all guys. Maybe it's 1%, but there's a lot of guys. That's a lot of people when you think of just 1% of kind of combat arms that have been in and retired since. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of guys, 1%, that just can't look back on their service in a positive light. Like they just see it as quite negative.
Mhm.
whether it's victimhood or not is neither here nor there. They just can't cherry pick even good times. It's all bad. And so that mislabeling, that's just a universal label that has been slapped on something that you haven't thought through very well. Because there's a ton of good times, no matter how hard it was. There's a ton of good times if you start thinking about it, but it takes reflection. And you've got to be selective. You've got to cherry pick out the good times for a bit until you realize it for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, small victories in Wainwright.
Yeah.
You got to look for those little things to just, all right, I'm good with this. We got a great comment here. Dan C jumped in, said, had great times partying with Patricia's at the Esquimalt Fleet Club. Play safe, gentlemen. Have a great day.
I did do a little bit of myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, I hope I didn't punch you out.
I was never at the Esquimalt Fleet Club, so I wouldn't know. But a lot of time spent in Gagetown, a lot of time spent in Wainwright, a lot of time spent in Edmonton and Suffield. Like I've been around and then Meaford, of course, that was fun in Petawawa. Petawawa was a different breed.
I've been to all of those spots, and
Dan C says probably. There you go.
Probably twice.
Twice. I got nothing else for today. I'm looking forward to a little bit of a break and getting some work done in the background. I'm excited to see all the pictures that you're going to be taking from Vietnam. Hooking up with Alan Shabaro, that's another great one. That's going to be super cool. And I really hope Doreen does well on her race. She's going to kick ass.
She'll kill it.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Anything before you sign out for the next month or so?
No. So just to recap real quick, I know Chance has already said this a couple of times, but while I'm over in Southeast Asia, it's generally business as usual for the collective and the gold mine. All of the episodes will be released according to our typical schedule. The newsletter and the e-zine, I'm sure someone will get those done every week.
Yeah.
While
Nancy will take over.
if he's not bleeding out right now from the Fleet Club.
Right.
So beyond that, of course, Chance and I will be working in the background to take on 2026 with fresh ideas and an invigorated velocity. As everyone knows, as Chance knows, I know it myself, 2026 will be better, bigger, faster. That's just the way it has to be. But if anyone has any thoughts out there right now as you're listening to this final piece and you'd like to see something in 2026 that we haven't delivered yet, like maybe a billboard on Times Square or something like that, we'll try. Ideas, as long as you're not like a full-time idea fairy, bring your ideas. We'll try to crack them.
Ideas and maybe some solutions might be helpful. If you got some ideas, you probably have a way of making those things happen. So absolutely. If there's any people that you'd like to see on the collective, by all means, hit me up and I can engage those throughout the year and get all the new cool people on the show because I love talking to new people. Of course, I will be hitting up all the awesome people that we've talked to before and keeping that cycle rolling forward, having new conversations about new things. I'm excited for 2026. It's going to be.
I'll tell you what I would like to do for 2026, and this comes right off of the back of me spending about an hour and a half in a Microsoft Teams meeting with RecoverCan, medical grade cannabis. We got to do a show on medical grade cannabis, by the way. And what I did learn from them is everyone seems to be paying attention to kind of what we're doing, and on the collective as an example. And I feel like we're not undervaluing ourselves, but underutilizing ourselves. I think maybe for 2026, something for you to think about, I started thinking about it yesterday, is somehow we should align with some larger organizations, with some civilian organizations, with some organizations that are supporting veterans, but aren't perhaps veterans themselves, as an example. And so I just think that we should tap into that a little bit more. We've been running the show kind of like, not isolated, but just the two of us, pushing hard, and we haven't really lined up two behemoths on our left and right that are organizations that we can start doing some good work for.
Yeah, we definitely need to engage the larger community, and I've been told many times that actually Doug mentioned it while we were up in the hills, was the fact that with the amount of content that we put out and the amount of awesome people that we have on the show, and like the big name people that we have on the show, that we're being underutilized, or maybe we're being throttled, or like there's social media stuff that we're just not doing right, or something. There's something missing
obviously,
to getting it to the larger population. Right. I think that is correct.
It's not for lack of guests, and it's not for lack of content. It's just we're dropping the ball on something, or we're being hampered in some way, and that's all fine. You know, like, if whatever. I look away from that and just consider what's immediately in front of my nose, which is the now.
Yep.
And so for 2026, the now, I think we should line up with a couple of behemoths.
Well, as you said earlier when we were talking about Doug and myself and Trav and the relationship, is that you and I have been going pretty hard for a while, just the two of us. And we need to get a team together. We need more players, people that have specialties that we don't have, because we can't do everything. We've
done pretty good.
We've done.
And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, that's my way. Like, I'll never get involved in anything that I do that's easy. Like, I want to fight my way out of the trenches.
I was just
bleeding the whole way. So it's got to be earned in the trenches, which we have.
Yeah. I was going to say that we've spent the time in the trenches. We have an understanding of what all those things are necessary, what we need, what we're looking for, and what we want to do. We now know all these things from the experiences that we've had, and now we can aim at them for the next year or two and just hammer in, get some stuff.
You know what I should have rounded the combo out with is Chance Burles. You're doing a hell of a good job.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's my final thought.
Okay.
How about that? You can't beat that one. Whatever you say next is second.
Okay. You suck.
Like the sappers.
Like the sappers. Well, you know what? There's a saying amongst the engineers, and it says that the infantry may be the queen of battle, but the engineers make sure she doesn't get raped. So,
that's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
But that is the beauty of this relationship, is that the goal.
What are you saying? Huh?
The relationship is that the goal is the same. We want to.
Good. I thought you were going to get all weird there with.
No, not like that. Not that kind of relationship. But the infantry, the engineers, the special operations, the regular force, to the whatever relationship that you and I, we have developed and created. We know that it's helping people because people are engaging us. We know that we're doing the right thing because, again, people are engaging us, that they want to see more of it. And now we have the experience and direction that we're looking for. And I'm going to
chops.
My final thought I'm going to use as a really good question. Travis asked me this while we were out there, and he said, "What is your demographic for the collective?" And I stopped and I thought about it, and I realized that how I saw the demographic of the collective is for people who want to get better, but may not know how, or may not know who to talk to, or may not know what they want next. They just know that they want something. And in that desire, they can become part of the collective, and then they can learn and build and grow.
See you on the next one.
I'll see you next week. Chimo. Thanks everybody for watching and being part of the collective. If this has sparked any thoughts or resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. We'll see y'all next time.